Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Good job being here. Sorry, we are getting started a little bit later than we wanted today, but we're here and we're having fun. You'll hear a little bit more about that during the show here. But as usual, I want to remind everybody to go to canarycry.party. Remember, YouTubers, you will only be receiving the first half of the show, which, you know, it's good stuff, but oh, you don't want to miss out on the second half. That's where the real juicy content is, the too hot for YouTube content. So if you want to catch the second half of the show, make sure to follow us in some other location, some other destination. Now, some of you here now with us, thank you for being here. You received a text message when we went live. That's pretty cool, huh? Pretty fun. Yeah. And you too, dear other people. You can get a text message alert sent directly to your phone to let you know that the show is going live. So many people have been complaining about the soft censorship where the big tech platforms, you know, they don't even need to cut our channel anymore. They just don't tell you when we go live. And isn't that special? So if you want to get a text message straight to your phone, go to canarycry.party or text the word canary to the number, which goes like this, 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. Text canary, and you'll start getting alerts or when we go live. Okay, folks, well, we're about to get this party started, so go ahead, share out this the link to this live while you're at it, just so everybody knows where the cool kids are hanging out. All right, folks, let's get going.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is February 23rd, 2022, and we are live to tape on this episode 450. And today, emergency ad infinitum. And razzle dazzle, I'm your best buddy Basil.
And this is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And there's a lot of world events taking place. A couple of them very, very far away from where we are. But it is all the rage anyway. Here's a minute and a half clip of just a summary of what went down yesterday on 22.
A proposed U.S.-Russia summit over Ukraine has been called off by the White House, according to Press Secretary Jen Psaki on Tuesday.
At this point, that is certainly not in the plans.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, along with his French counterpart, canceled respective meetings with Russia's foreign minister after weeks of diplomacy failed to end the crisis.
Now that we see the invasion is beginning and Russia has made clear its wholesale rejection of diplomacy, it does not make sense to go forward with that meeting at this time.
Western nations and Japan have also punished Russia with new sanctions for ordering troops into separatist regions of eastern Ukraine. Canada and Australia have joined the U.S., EU, Britain, and Japan with plans to target Russian banks and the wealthy. Germany, meanwhile, halted a major pipeline project from Russia. All have threatened to go further if Moscow launched an all-out invasion of its neighbor. Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered more than 150,000 troops near Ukraine's borders, according to U.S. estimates, and ordered soldiers into the separatist Donetsk and Luhansk regions to keep the peace. The U.S. dismisses the justification as nonsense.
To put it simply, Russia just announced that it is carving out a big chunk of Ukraine.
On Tuesday, President Joe Biden announced military plans to bolster NATO's eastern flank. An official told Reuters that would see 800 infantry soldiers and up to 8 F-35 fighter jets move up to the area. Putin has said he's open to finding diplomatic solutions, but that the interests of Russia won't be compromised.
So there you go. A lot going on.
Ukraine's so hot right now, baby.
So hot.
It's a hot zone.
Putin, Ukraine on the map.
Yeah. I do want to mention Mr. Jag, which is our producer over there in Hungary. Right? He's from Hungary.
I think so. He's a Hungarian, yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'm looking at it now. Yes. He sent us a couple emails, just little things. So we got some boots on the ground here. I noticed he didn't send a voicemail, Mr. Jack, but that's okay. We've got.
Should we give him the breaking news?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, here we go.
This is our CCR special boots on the ground report. Now, let's go live.
There we go. And we're live here in the studio as I read an email from Mr. Jack, our producer from Hungary. He says, "Hi, Gons and Basil. I've noticed fighter jets in the skies over my head in the last few days. This is not a common thing. Even though the NATO base in Hungary is in the general area where I live now, the way they have been training reminded me of Trump and Hillary's run for presidency, as that was the only other time when jets flew over my head. Not seen or heard anything like that ever since until last week." And then we have a little update here in connection with my previous email. Not only are fighter jets flying over my head, but tanks and other equipment traveling through the region where I live now. Not so happy. Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you for the update, Mr. Jag. There you go. We have Canarians on the ground watching tanks roll by, forming an eastern front, which is weird to say.
It is weird. It's strange too, because I mean, this isn't new. It's more recent modern history. But I guess if we're talking about moving into some kind of true World War III kind of violent conflict, this is the first time where we have like a militia that's not just one. It's not just country by country.
You talking about the Ukrainian militia, or you're talking about NATO?
NATO.
Oh, I don't know if that's a militia.
No,
but it is
a militia.
It's definitely a sort of allies military. And axis situation.
Yeah,
Axis and allies situation. Yeah, it was a sort of international coalition, rainbow coalition forming on the in Eastern Europe. There, we talked about how Ukrainian civilians are like training to fight the Russians. Mm-hmm. Like grandmas are taking out their shotguns and stuff, and making little perches and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of like a accelerated form of what we saw in the U.S. To Mr. Jack's point of the fighter jets, the last time being Hillary and Trump. I do think that there's some credibility to the idea that they're making Putin out to be kind of the new Trump, where because he was always part of the Trump thing in America, but now on the world stage, he's out there doing his thing. He's the big bad guy. You know
what I've noticed is they're using the same language that they used with Trump.
Yep.
Not racism, not whatever, bigot, none of that. Mm-hmm. The word they're using is he's breaking norms. Mm-hmm. He's breaking the international norms. Right. And one report that I was listening to said, "Oh, these norms haven't been broken for 77 years." Right. Like, ooh, what a great number. And again, it's this obsession with norms. And I read a little bit more about it. I didn't bring like a full analysis or breakdown, but this idea of norms is very interesting, because when we hear norms over in the U.S., and of course we heard about Trump breaking norms all the time, and we're like, why does Kamala Harris care so much about norms? Why does everybody like that's the reason he got elected, was because he wasn't the norm. We're tired of the norm. The norm doesn't work for regular people. But I was looking into it more. This word norm, or this reference, I don't even know if it's a full word, but this reference to norms is a much bigger deal than I thought.
It's very much a controlling mechanism. You get to determine
it's almost like the law.
That's what I'm saying. You get to determine reality. It's the norm.
Well, internationally, so even more than that, internationally, a norm is more or less an unwritten law that people abide by. And the reason they make such a big deal about not abiding by the norm is because it's like considered a betrayal to the world order.
It's like tossing the bat when you're
among the
up to
elites,
bat.
because you got to remember these elites are so, they're all kind of in the same class. They're all on the same page. They all, think themselves to be sort of superior to the common man. And so they have like these gentleman agreements, which they call norms. And so that's why breaking these norms is so egregious to the elite, because it's like, hey, Putin, hey, you were a young leader in the new the World Economic Forum. You're supposed to be on the same page. Follow the norms, man. Stick to the plan. And he's not doing that. Norms took a big, played a big role in Kamala Harris's speech in Munich recently. It's all about these dang norms, man.
Well,
there was real quick. There was one more little boots on the ground thing here. Okay. Who was it? Somebody in the chat. I think it was Old Two Box. I want to say no. There's Salta Paul. Salta Paul is saying, I'm talking with a Ukrainian friend who's over here. He's nervous. They're drafting Ukrainians.
Right.
Yep. I did not. That's a full-on draft. I don't know if it's a big official draft or what, but that's pretty gnarly.
It seems to fit the mold of the warmongers for generations now. So we have this in additional stories, but it's basically MSNBC reporting on how Trump praised Putin on Ukraine.
Ah, yes.
So there's that. But also,
he called him what did he call him? He called him a genius.
Yeah. Well, the quote here. So Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border.
I mean, it is funny because it is. What I feel like Trump is doing, and again, you guys know me. I'm not here to defend Trump. But knowing what I know about Trump, it's like he does admire the way that Putin did it. Like one thing he does that other politicians don't do is he puts himself in another politician's shoes, like Putin. So when he says that, he's like imagining himself as Putin and being like, oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. That's what I would have done if I wanted to invade Ukraine, too.
That's what I should have done. That's what I should have done at the border. Yeah. And there are sentiments out there which, again, these are more Trump-leaning people suggesting it, but basically saying that, in the same way, and this is very fringe, so I'm not saying that I agree with this, but the sentiment is out there, similar to how revisionist history would say Hitler was fighting the New World Order, and they sort of framed him for the whole Holocaust and all that, right? Similarly, they are framing Putin because he's against the New World Order. He's not trying to expand and all this, maybe, with energy and some kind of, with commerce. But in terms of like...
Whether he is or not, even if he was trying to just expand his borders, that's against the New World Order.
That's the New World Order. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's almost like these different factions within the New World Order fighting each other, which is kind of the thing we've known for a long time, is that they
it's overlapping incentives. You got to take teams,
right,
stuff like that.
Divide and conquer. So that is an interesting thing.
Klaus Schwab must feel betrayed
by Putin.
His young Padawan, the Sith Emperor. Do we have a Klaus 666 or Execute Order 66 mashup?
We do, and I just realized I didn't start my Pomodoro.
Oh, I just started mine about a minute ago. So
that's not good. Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay. How long are we into the show so far? 10 minutes?
Well, I don't know. 3 minutes on my clock, which probably means about 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah.
We got a lot more here for the Russia-Ukraine situation here.
Keep going.
So Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau came out to
another Padawan of
well, he hasn't
Emperor Klaus.
rebelled yet. He's more of a Anyway, he's still part of the team. Here's what he said about the situation.
Canada and our allies will defend democracy. We are taking these actions today to stand against authoritarianism.
What?
The people of Ukraine,
hold on,
like all people,
one more time,
against authoritarianism.
Who's standing against authoritarianism?
To stand against authoritarianism.
That is hilarious.
The people of Ukraine, like all people, must be free to determine their own future. We will continue working with our international partners to safeguard Ukraine's territorial integrity and prevent further Russian aggression.
You know what I started to notice with not just Trudeau?
Irony.
The irony
of
is
Trudeau.
Unbelievable, yeah. I've noticed this with a lot of politicians recently. They're starting to talk choppier. Like their words, it's almost like they're turning into robots. They're kind of
did you hear you didn't hear Kamala's Munich, did you?
I did.
She was a complete robot.
No, that's what I'm saying. That I've noticed it more. And Kamala was the one that really was like, oh, it's kind of weird. And I'm noticing with Trudeau too. They have this way of talking where it's word by word, inflection. It's really bizarre. And it's almost like they really do have to be fed the information word by word or it doesn't come out.
Yeah.
But there you go. I mean, this clip went viral, but yeah, I can't imagine the people that are standing there really supporting Trudeau. If you're not in his like immediate friend circle, even then, I'm sure there are people that are like, yo, Justin, what are you doing?
No, he only socializes with his handlers. He's not allowed to talk to anybody else.
Apparently. So this morning, we had Ned Price, good old Ned.
CIA shill
Ned,
White House defense spokesperson.
Just really, there's nothing interesting about this clip other than just spitting the lines that are meant to be spit.
The sequence of events that Secretary Blinken laid out at the UN Security Council last week appears to be proceeding exactly as he laid out. We've seen false flags. We've seen provocations. We've seen theatrically staged meetings at the Kremlin. We've seen cyber operations, and the list goes on. So where do we go from here? Moscow needs to demonstrate that it's serious about diplomacy. Russia's actions over the last 48 hours have, in fact, demonstrated the opposite. If Moscow's approach changes, we remain ready to engage.
Same cadence, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of like, it's kind of Obama-y.
Obama did have that, but he had a little more charisma. I think his delivery was obviously worked a little bit better in terms of getting the masses to support you. But yeah, it's really bizarre. But the false flag thing. And, it's funny because I remember a couple episodes ago, it happened, right? That the children's school thing. And you were talking about, how they mentioned false flag and it happened, this is the false flag that they're labeling.
Right.
And because it was so absurd, I was thinking, because there wasn't a lot of talk about it on the news either, I was like, I don't know if they're going to really latch on to that, but here we are. And I'm like, wow, okay, I guess they are because it really shows. I don't think Biden knows what false flag means.
Right.
I mean, 100% he doesn't know what false flags means. and because he's basically saying that Ukraine staged something, But anyway, there you go. There's Ned. There's more to Ned from this morning, but I just took this little piece here because the false flag mention really just irks me.
Oh no, that's his thing. His new name is False Flag Ned.
False flag Ned. I like that.
Yeah, we got to keep that in mind because that's pretty much all he's good for.
Yeah.
Okay, you got more clips?
I do. I'm just checking my audition here, and it says it's recording, but I don't see it. It's really kind of freaking me out.
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Does it come out okay, or is it?
It has.
Okay. Good to know.
I don't know. I mean, you could just restart it right now. We're early. It's better to restart it now, just to be early.
Okay.
In case it's not doing it, because then we'd really be in trouble.
Yeah, well.
All sorts of things. This has been this whole day, folks. We'll talk about it a little bit more.
Oh, my gosh.
In a second, but this has been the craziest day.
Yeah, this is, hold on. This is a little bit more disastrous than I thought because I have not assigned the channels.
Of course it is.
Yeah, of course the channels aren't assigned properly because Audition always decides to just reset every time you open it. Which is
peek behind the curtain, folks.
All right,
behind the curtain.
Now we're recording. All right, it'll be poor quality RSS.
Time to start the podcast.
Well, okay, yes, I have one more clip here before we read an article, and it's from Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you heard from her recently?
Not recently.
Okay, here she is talking about something we won't hear in the mainstream.
Here's something you are not going to hear on the mainstream media. What you do hear is warmongers arguing that we must protect Ukraine because it is a quote-unquote democracy. But they're lying. Ukraine isn't actually a democracy. For example, to hold on to power, Ukraine's president shut down the 3 TV stations that were openly criticizing him and his policies, imprisoned the head of the opposition political party that had come in second place in their elections, and went and arrested and jailed that party's leaders. This is exactly what Putin has been accused of doing. But Ukraine did this all with the support of the United States.
There you go.
Yeah, well, we knew this. They've been doing all sorts of shady stuff, sometimes at the behest of our president, our current president, President Biden.
Yeah, and so this whole thing...
I don't know if that makes it not a democracy, though.
That's Tulsi Gabbard being, inflammatory, trying to go viral or whatever. But it does bring up a few points because right now a lot of the sentiment it has shifted to kind of it's trying to bring, especially in the U.S. I can't speak for other countries, but it feels like in the U.S. they're trying to at least bring the two parties together because it seems like, well, your Biden supporters are going to be Biden supporters. But
war has always done that.
War has done. Yeah, that's my point.
That's like the purpose of war, or one of the quote unquote benefits of war, or at least what makes it easy to do in the U.S. is war always brings the two parties together,
right?
For better, for worse.
Yeah. And I wanted to reference this AP article from December 9th, 2021, so just a few months ago. And the headline is Biden assures Ukraine's leaders of U.S. support to deter Russia. And in here, if you kind of scroll down, I got a place highlighted. It says, for Biden, the challenge will be encouraging Kiev to accept some of the facts on the ground in eastern Ukraine without appearing to cave to Putin. A perception that can embolden the Russian leader and unleash a fresh line of condemnations by Republicans as Biden's popularity is already in decline. Ukraine may be asked, quote, can you make some step forward on these areas, said Stephen Pfeiffer, a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine. That could include measures such as allowing the Russia-allied Donbas region to control its own healthcare, police, and schools, he said. So in this AP article from like 3 months ago, this former ambassador to the Ukraine is suggesting to AP anyway, that like, hey, yeah, Biden's going to have to kind of beat around the bush here a little bit because he's going to have to accept some of the things going on in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine especially, but not appear like he's caving. And I think that's what this is. Because didn't Putin come out yesterday?
The soft invasion he was talking about.
Right. Putin said, the Donbas, and what was the other one? I can't remember the other.
Lugansk or something like that.
Lugansk or something. Yeah. So anyway, him announcing, hey, those are independent regions or whatever. And for Biden to not appear weak, he has to be like, sanctions. We're going to shut you down.
Right.
And so it's just very bizarre that when you look back just a couple months, you can see sort of, I guess hindsight is 2020, but you see some of the agendas playing out. And a big part of the story
almost as if it's, was planned ahead of time.
Scripted, yeah.
Real quick, I do have something to show you about Tulsi Gabbard. You may or may not already have seen.
Okay.
But I dropped a little... URL in our show notes there. You can take a look at that. This is from WE Forum, the World Economic Forum.org. And it's a profile on Tulsi Gabbard, who was part of their Young Leadership Brigade or whatever. Same thing as Putin, same thing as Trudeau.
They're all part of the same school. And yeah, this is something to keep in mind, that you're going to have different. It's always the same people providing the two sides for people to latch onto.
That's the funny thing. I mean, Klaus was bragging about how between Trudeau and Putin and everyone else, we have. He said something like
penetrating cabinets.
Yeah, we've penetrated half the cabinets in the world.
Oh, he said penetrated cabinets. Those two words in succession.
Sure. But he said something about like half of the world's cabinets, half of the world's leadership or whatever. It's part of the World Economic Forum. And I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, who's the congresswoman from Hawaii. She's part of the World Economic Forum Young Leadership Club or whatever. So, I know a lot of people love Tulsi for different reasons. But she's not immune to the skepticism that we should all hold of the people in charge.
Not at all. And the big part of the story here is moving on from Tulsi and back to the Russia thing, is really the economic sanctions. It looks like they're going to shut down Stripe from connecting to Russia. Stripe being one of the major financial bridges between nations.
Payment facilitator company.
That's really outdated. It's like 50, 60 years outdated. But yeah, putting sanctions. And it's interesting to watch because Putin has been pro Bitcoin the last month. All of a sudden he's like, oh, we like Bitcoin. And that's kind of weird too. And given the economic sanctions being placed, this seems to be more economic driven in general, economic infrastructure driven, all of this.
Well, and it's interesting because sanctions being like the big one thing that the U.S. can threaten besides military action. And we've done that before. We did it when they were annexing Crimea. We've done it when they, get froggy other times. And, it hasn't actually been the worst thing in the world for Russia. Because of the previous
independence,
the Crimea annexation and the whatever they're called, sanctions from that, it just kind of helped Russia, bring its industry back in its own borders. It stopped having to rely on U.S. economics in order to support itself, and its industries have become more robust. Now, that's not to say it's a wonderful place. It also created or worsened the sort of oligarch structure over there, and certainly has not done anything to help the regular working man. But as far as, the power structure of Russia, they were able to respond to the sanctions pretty well and become a little bit more self-sufficient.
They have a lot of gold and being a nation and oil and being a nation that they are, it's economic sanctions. It's like, okay, great. We'll just work on our own thing. It's different if they, when the U.S. or a big power puts sanctions on a small country, then you can really, create some problems. Which, of course, in the current way things are set up, Bitcoin is this sort of way around it, which is also, of course, you have to be suspicious of that as well in terms of providing those alternate railways and, who's savvy enough to know and all that kind of stuff.
And I think it's no surprise that, within a span of a month, Russia said they were going to make Bitcoin an official currency, and the FBI opened up their cryptocurrency enforcement group, whatever. Just a lot of that stuff happening at once, all only happening a month or so after the Kazakhstan issue, which is based around Bitcoin, or at least has a lot to do with Bitcoin.
And Ukraine being very heavy in terms of resources, like they rank in the top 3, top 10 in a lot of resources worldwide. Got a list here from Chad Riley, posted this a few days ago. I'm not going to read the whole thing, it's long, But they're first in Europe in proven recoverable reserves of uranium ores, second place in Europe, and 10th in the world in terms of titanium ore reserves, second place in the world in terms of explored reserves on manganese ores, and it goes on and on and on. So basically, yeah, they're one of the main places for resources. So of course, people are going to be fighting over, or I guess regions will be fighting over the land, so to speak, or the access to land, or the rights, or whatever.
Yeah, it's not nothing over there.
It's not nothing. It's not.
Plus,
nothing
they have 44 million people, and Russia is having a demographic crisis, like many places in the world.
Right.
Not a lot of Russians having babies, and so their population is getting older. Whereas the Ukraine is not having that problem. So, they could just get they could get like 20 million young people to join their economy.
Yeah.
Speaking of populations, I got this story from businessinsider.com, and the headline is "A Chinese news outlet accidentally leaked its own censorship instructions on Russia-Ukraine coverage."
Oh.
Report. An accidental social media post revealed how one Chinese outlet is towing the line while the world grapples with the mounting Russia-Ukraine conflict. Horizon News, a subset of Beijing News, which is owned by the Chinese Communist Party, posted, quote, instructions on how to cover the escalating tensions to its Weibo page on Tuesday, according to the Washington Post. China has strengthened its alliance with Russia in recent years, and the two countries have also become increasingly active economic partners. Trade between China and Russia has grown from $10.7 billion in 2004 to $140 billion by 2021, according to the Carnegie Moscow Center think tank. Coupled with China's strict limits on press freedoms, news outlets in the nation are constrained in what they can say without government intervention. In the Weibo post, Horizon News stated that any content painting Russia unfavorably would not be published. The same applied to any pro-Western framing, according to the post. Later on Tuesday, the Weibo post was deleted. The post noted, quote, simply put, China has to back Russia up with emotional and moral support. I'm telling you, man, Russia, Putin and Xi are gonna, they're gonna go on a long holiday together to the moon and go hot tubbing. Simply put, China has to back Russia up with emotional and moral support while refraining from treading on the toes of the United States and European Union. Good luck. Ming Jinhui, a senior editor at the Xinhua news agency, wrote in a WeChat blog cited by the Post. Xinhua is the official press agency of the Chinese government. Quote, in the future, China will also need Russia's understanding and support when wrestling with America to solve the Taiwan issue once and for all, the editor later added. On the U.S. side, President Joe Biden announced a slew of new sanctions to punish Russia for what the White House is describing as the beginning of an invasion. Quote, yeah, of course the White House is describing it that way. Quote, it can no longer raise money from the West and cannot trade in its new debt on our markets or European markets either, Biden said of Russia. Mm-hmm. Ooh, scary words from the Biden man. Yep. Emotional support, Gons. I'm telling you, China and Russia are cozier than we even know.
They are, but they're also, they both know, they're cozy for now, I would say. I don't think it's going to be cozy forever.
Well, and I think it's interesting, of course, that they brought up the Taiwan issue because, I mean, of course, similar. It's so blatant. Yes, Taiwan is China's Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly.
And so if Russia can pull it off, he's testing the strength, testing the waters. Putin has the stomach for it. And, if he can pull it off and the U.S. doesn't show strength, then China, can get a little froggy over there in Taiwan. But you know what? That's what happens when the United States sort of places itself as some sort of, dealer or police officer of the world. Criminals gonna crime,
Criminals gonna crime. Well said. All right. Well,
thanks.
I think we're gonna.
I think we're good to get moving.
Okay, here we go. Let me see if. All right, I'm just trying to stay on top of things here. It is
You want to smash our Pomodoro onto the next thing?
I just did, yeah.
Hit the trash can? Okay, I'll do it too.
Yeah.
Boop.
Boop.
Yeah. Oh.
And we have a couple things to mention here. First off, it is Wednesday, and I'm gonna do it like this.
It is Wednesday, my dude.
Hey guys, know what day it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Should I play the other one too?
No scream?
I have the other one here.
The war continues. We're trying to find some common ground. It's not too late for diplomacy, Gons. Yeah, we gotta play the other one too. We gotta play both of them. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Yeah, we did it. It's Wednesday.
I think I do like the first one, just in terms of freshening the brain, like clearing the sinuses.
I think for now we should do both.
Okay, I like that. Yeah,
we should do both.
We should be politicians.
Yes, we got to toe the line. We got to try to please everybody and secretly bow to our lizard.
We're Republican-crats.
Yeah, okay. Yep, so it's Wednesday. The Battle of the Wednesday Jingles continues, but we will have a note or a voice message, rather, from somebody you guys might want to hear weigh in on the subject. But before that, we've got some other stuff to talk about. Gons, do you have you do have some personal updates that are important to today's show.
Yes. At any minute, any second, I might have to run off to the restroom because had a little stomach issue yesterday all day long. It was weird. It hurt my back. My back is still kind of sore from it. I don't know what's going on. Had a rough night. I told you about it, Basil, before the show. I don't know that it's show appropriate, but it's
a rough night, folks.
Rough night.
You can use your imagination, and yes, it was that bad.
I think I ate something not good, and then today.
Are you sure it's not a symptom of Omicron? Have you checked? I mean, they keep updating the symptoms.
True. Yeah, I haven't done that.
Uncontrollable, whatever might be.
I certainly contributed to the sewer surveillance
yes,
system.
The sewer surveillance.
Sewer surveillance will have
some
to
fun with your neighborhood.
Yeah. Okay. But it wasn't just that. So yesterday I'm miserable. I'm miserable all night. This morning I'm still feeling a little icky. I feel okay now. I think doing the show actually helped me get my mind off of how crummy I was feeling. Mm-hmm. But then I'm here. I'm about to walk out of my office. I'm looking at something over here and I'm moving stuff. And I turn to walk out of my office, and I don't know if I'm losing my spatial awareness or what, but I was like a foot off of the door. So I turned and I slammed my forehead face right into the side of the door. And I think I have a bump. It's not too bad. I mean, I can feel it. It hurts. It's not horrible, but I was like, what? It took me a second to realize what was going on. I was like, because I thought somebody hit me. I thought somebody walked in and like punched me right in the face. So I was like,
yeah, those 3-year-olds, man, they can get pretty violent sometimes.
Well, we're talking about some stuff on the show. You never know. And then I have some tea. I'm not going too crazy with food and stuff. I got a little fruit today. I have my tea, and then right before we get on the call, I spill my tea all over the desk. So it's been one of those days.
Gonz's no good, horrible, terrible, very bad day.
Very horrible day, yeah.
Well, I had a weird start to the day, too. I had to drive. I've done a total of like 6 hours of driving before we started the show today.
Wow.
Not because I was traveling from somewhere, but because I had to drive somewhere that was 2.5 hours away, there and back. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get up and drive. And it's not really important what it was. It was just something that I had to do today because I couldn't do any other day.
All right, folks. Come up with your idea of what Basil did. What did he have to do that he had to drive impulsively 2.5 hours to a destination and then do the thing and then drive back 2.5 hours?
It could be anything. We'll be taking submissions. We'll be taking submissions.
Had to get that note
Email
from
your
Putin.
Answer.
The Putin
tweet your
bird?
answer. Yeah. My shill phone was down, so I had to go pick up my
Did old school.
My dead drop.
Yeah.
I accidentally left my dead drop 2 hours away. But not only that, Gons, I came back. I sat down. I was getting ready for the show, and I have my show shirt. A show shirt that I'm wearing. It's just the shirt that I wear when I do the show. Leave it in the office. And it's just this white shirt that I've been wearing forever. And I washed my show shirt. And I don't know if you can tell on the stream and the video.
Wrinkly and wet.
But my white show shirt is now a wrinkly pink show shirt.
Oh, I thought it was wet.
No, it got it may.
It looks like it's wet when white clothing gets wet, gets a little darker.
It's just pink now. So now I wear a pink shirt for the show. I had washed it with something red, and I thought that was. It didn't even occur to me that was like still a thing. I thought surely in 2022. We human beings would have figured out how to
depends
make a cloth that doesn't make this happen. But
it's okay. It takes time to learn things, you know. Like I didn't know there was a lint catcher in a dryer until I was in college. It was like, this dryer doesn't work, and then a lady had to come and say, hey, you got to clear this out. I was like, oh.
Can I tell you a sort of a twisted pleasure that I have?
No.
No, it is. It's clearing out that lint trap. I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love just
It's your great reset.
Yeah, peeling off that big old lint trap and rolling it into a ball and just throwing it in the trash, really. But I do consider sometimes. I'm like,
create a jar.
Yeah, I was like, should I be saving this? This would make really good fire starter material, in an emergency, or you could knit it into a scarf or something. It's very soft. Look, I know it's gross, folks. I get it. I know that's the grossest thing you've heard all day, but it's very soft. I am constantly having to remind myself, okay, you are a hoarder and you are a weird. You're a weird hoarder and you're a weird prepper. And you're like a weird guy, man. So it's not normal to save the dryer lint. You're never going to knit a scarf. You're never going to use it as fire starter. There's 1,000 other things you could start fires with. Don't save the dryer lint.
That's
but
funny.
There's just a fun little detail for everybody.
Yep.
And is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. And with that, we want to take a second to thank our executive producer of the show today. We are on the value for value model, folks, if you didn't know, which means no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever, which means as an independent media property here, we do not have to consider corporate interests in anything we do. That's how independent media should be, and it's called the value for value model because we create the value. We create our value, and if you get any value out of it, the only way to keep it going is if listeners like you become producers of the show. And today we have an executive producer, and that is executive producer Jan S.
Thank you, Jan S.
Indeed, thank you very much, Jan S. And we'll thank you on later on in the show as well. We got a note from Jan S. But yes, we couldn't do without you. Let's hit her with that executive producer jingle.
Where'd you find this?
Okay. Well, if you're ready to get on with the show, I say we check in with our best friend, Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's the Flippy Update. If you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses, and on a mission to become our best friend. We talk about Flippy as a way to explore all the new and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and now there's nothing we can do about it. Today, our Flippy Update is coming from restaurantbusinessonline.com.
Again.
Which is, yes, not the first time.
They've really found a niche, this restaurant website.
Yeah, Restaurant Business Online is chock-a-block full of robot news. And the headline here is Department of Defense to install robot chefs at military bases. First of all, the word chefs in this headline is a bit of a stretch. I mean, come on, a chef, sure it can serve food. Sure, maybe it can deep fry things, but a chef, that's reserved for French people and, people from my high school that I haven't talked to in 15 years. Okay, the article goes like this. The U.S. Department of Defense's latest recruit is a robotic chef named Alfred. The agency is contracting with Dexai Robotics to bring 10 of its automated sous chefs to U.S. military bases. Okay, that makes more sense. Sous chefs. The organization said Wednesday. The DoD said the bots will help reduce food waste, improve sanitation, and keep its facilities adequately staffed. Food waste. Quote, our goal is to make our operations more efficient, safer, easier, and more sustainable, said Jim Kruger, Chief of Air Force Food and Beverage Policy, Procedures, and Strategic Initiatives in a statement. Quote, wow, that's a position.
That's a super title.
Chief of Air Force Food and Beverage Policy, Procedures, and Strategic Initiatives. I like to think that the strategic initiatives are some, that's like his war fighting capabilities.
Well, I was going to say, because it's the Air Force Food and Beverage Policy, they had to give him a little bit more oomph,
something a little bit more military-y.
You don't sound too awesome when you're like, I'm the Air Force Food and Beverage Policy guy.
He's the admiral of the cafeteria. Quote, in terms of functionality, ease of implementation, and flexibility, Alfred far surpassed anything else we saw on the market. Whoa.
Flippy being outdone.
Yeah.
He must have seen Flippy. Jim Kruger. He must have. If he's doing his work properly.
I've never felt so defensive of Flippy before.
It's okay. We don't want Flippy in the DoD anyway.
You're still the best. Yeah, stay out of the military, Flippy. It's not for you, man. You don't have the temperament for it, and you've got other skills.
You got burgers to make and fries to fry.
The department is spending $1.6 million on 10 robots, the first of which started work at Travis Air Force Base in Fairfield, California, at the end of last year. The bot is stationed at the Monarch Dining Facility, which serves an average of 950 people a day. Alfred is a robotic arm that uses AI and computer vision to interact with its surroundings and can be installed in any commercial kitchen, according to Dexai. It can use standard kitchen utensils and can prepare a variety of meals and cuisine types. Ooh, cuisine types. The department said cuisine being the key word. This is a chef. He's a French robot arm chef with cuisine. The department said it will monitor the bots to decide whether to expand the program to more bases. Dexai was founded in 2018. Don't care. It is the latest example of a food service operator using robots to handle restaurant tasks. Last week, White Castle said it planned to add robotic fry cook Flippy at 100 locations, and some restaurants are turning to robotic servers to help in the front of house. The shift comes as the industry remains short about 1 million jobs compared to before the pandemic. All right, so Flippy still got a mention. That's nice. But not so nice that he was mentioned in the same article that the admiral of the cafeteria here says that Alfred's better.
They should make the robot arms give what's this guy named Kruger? Jim Kruger. Give him a back rub, like a shoulder rub.
I'm sure that's one reason why he was so. Maybe he gets a free Flippy, free Alfred. You buy 10 Alfreds, you get the 11th free, and we'll keep that one off the receipt there, Jim. You can do whatever you want with that one.
I'm sure that's what happened. Some deal was cut.
Alfred is the perfect name for an evil nemesis for Flippy. Because Flippy is kind of a cute name. It's kind of a colloquial type of thing. It's kind of I don't know. It's just friendly. Flippy, friendly Flippy. But Alfred is sort of like the
assistant to Batman.
Yeah, that too. But Alfred, he's kind of like stuck up a little bit. He went to private school.
Right.
He's got a bit of a mean streak.
He's in the military. Makes sense.
He comes from a military family. He looks down on burger flipping robot.
Right.
Oh, you flip burgers? I can create.
I'm a sous chef.
Yes,
Let's get serious here.
I can prepare a variety of cuisine types, Flippy. Go ahead, fry your burger. So I think this is Alfred, needs to take his place in the Canaryverse as sort of the nemesis of Flippy.
Yeah, it's like the high society.
Mm-hmm.
Where
he looks
Flippy's
down on
every
Flippy.
man. Yeah, very much so.
Alfred is kind of like classically trained, fancy boy, and looks down on our working class Flippy.
Is this a picture of Alfred?
The arm?
Yeah. It says,
I don't know.
It is. It says
Why
Alfred in
put
action.
A picture of a different one.
Well, because you know how they are, news agencies. It is captioned Alfred in action at Travis Air Force Base. I don't see anything different about. I actually would say Flippy has more range.
Alfred's got curves, man.
Alfred does have curves,
and I'm counting an extra couple joints.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, he's got a couple extra joints. He looks like the fancy stuck-up version of Flippy.
He does. He's a little more sleek.
Yeah, a little bit more sleek, a little sexier, a little more aerodynamic, more joints. Yeah. Well, we're still on Team Flippy again. Never thought I would defend Flippy, but. You're my boy, Flip.
Do people have to replace in this picture, it's picking salad out of the thing here. Mm-hmm. Do the humans have to replace when the lettuce, when it gets low? And does Alfred get mad when there's no salad to...
Yeah.
More salad?
It's like, what's that guy's name from Hell's Kitchen?
Oh,
the mean chef man?
Yeah, someone in the chat will know. I'm not. It's not on top of mind.
Who's the mean chef man? Chat. Who's the guy from
Gordon something?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
No.
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes, Gordon. He's the Gordon Ramsay of the robotic arms. And yes, if that salad bucket gets low,
he's gonna smash those tongs right in there.
God
in the metal.
Bless
metal on metal.
Private is responsible for refilling that. But to take just a slightly more analytic tone for a second, for just a second, we're having fun with this one. But it just goes straight back to the sort of original issue with Flippy and all robots taking this sort of repetitive menial jobs. In the military, who's usually doing the sort of grunt work in the kitchen? You'll get some sort of private, some sort of lower level guy who, maybe wasn't approved to go to battle in the field or, didn't pass his, jet lessons or something. And, or maybe, just that's what he wanted to do. Okay. Join the military, get the help with college, but, oh yeah, don't worry, Mom, I'll be safe. I'll be cooking in the kitchen. Well, now with the robots doing that job, I can't think of it. Old Bryce is going to need to find another job in the military.
Bryce didn't. He was in the military, but he didn't quite make it to where.
Well, who knows? Maybe he had a passion for cooking and couldn't afford culinary school, so joined up in the military, cooked for the military for 4 years or whatever the contract is nowadays, and then go off and fulfill his dreams. Well, sorry, Bryce, you got to find another way, buddy.
Yeah, I suppose. That's I guess part of the entire pandemic agenda was likely the unleashing of the robots. I mean, we've said that since the moment they locked everything down. Yep. That was one of our things was, hey, this is an opportunity for Flip. We're going to start seeing Flippy everywhere because no one's working. And it says in the last sentence, the shift comes as the industry remains short about 1 million jobs compared to before the pandemic. So,
it's so funny and also hurts a little bit. Because we've been reporting on Flippy for many years, like 5 years now.
You wanted to invest in it.
Yes, I would get the Miso Robotics investment pitches. And,
Oh, you would have had a job with
round after
robotics.
round after round after round of investment. Starting, I mean, I think the first time they reached out for investment, it was like $1 or something per share.
Because we see those memos go out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The seed rounds or whatever.
And I don't know what it's at now, but yeah, again, another example of us or me. I don't know about you, but me not following my own dang advice. I've been talking about Flippy, becoming the standard for a long time, and I had the chance to invest. And I didn't, and here we are.
But you know what? I would the silver lining to that is your reporting is not compromised. If you were invested in Miso Robotics, you would have a different. We'll start hearing how you love Flippy and
start advertising.
Yeah,
Flippy. Everybody should have a Flippy in their home.
Right, it'll become you'll sell out. So it's a good thing.
Yeah,
God knew what he was doing.
I guess you're right. Trying to look up the Miso Robotics stock price right now. Okay. I don't think they're public. I think it's all private investment.
Do you have to be accredited to do it?
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't do it.
Okay. Well, you and I both.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. Go to canarycry.party. Party time. Find the live stream, email list, street team posters, other Canarians, and all the ways you can produce the show and join the Canary Cry family.
Welcome to Canary Cry Party. It's the place you wanna be. So say, welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay, Canary Cry Party.
Their last funding round was announced December 14th, 2021. They must be, they're in a funding round right now. They've only raised $500,000 in this latest round, though.
Maybe it's possible Flippy flames out.
There's still time.
Somebody else, they're going to have to shift. Military robot, something like that.
That'd be very
sad.
So sad. So sad.
I know.
All right. I just, one more time, want to pitch my side project, a new podcast called Ravel. Go check it out. Now, here's the thing. You can search Ravel, Ravel, on any podcast player. You may see that there are 2 Ravel podcasts. Mine's the one with the cool logo and my name on it. I've teamed up with a PhD in biblical interpretation, Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, where we are exploring scripture, society, and scandal in the biblical context. We've got all sorts of fun stuff going on. Our new series starts this Sunday, talking about, to, and behind the backs of artists. And, what they have to say about art and God and theology and just life as a human being. So check it out. Ravel Podcast. Search it out anywhere. You could go to ravelpodcast.com to find all the links. Thank you very much.
This is Rubber Ducky. What's your 1020? Over.
Check you. We got us a convoy. Over.
This is
the saga continues.
The saga continues, and I'm actually kind of concerned about where it's headed. Politico.com. Pentagon weighs request for D.C. National Guard help ahead of trucker protests.
Oh, geez. They really are making it another January 6th, aren't they?
Yeah, they're really trying. The Pentagon said Tuesday it is considering a request to deploy the National Guard to provide assistance ahead of trucker protests that could halt traffic around the nation's capital as soon as this week. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby said the department received a request for Guard support from the U.S. Capitol Police and the D.C. government, but had not yet decided to approve the request. Oh, man, I can already hear Biden fans like, see, at least Biden
did
the National Guard before the thing.
Well, of course, that being one of the biggest criticisms of January 6th was the whole... the whole shenanigans about the National Guard not getting involved in time or whatever. And we, sort of talked about at the moment, like, okay, they're going to use this to like have a really really quick trigger finger to get the National Guard involved earlier in future events, which may sound like a good idea if you're that type of person. But again, you're talking about turning the U.S. military against U.S. citizens, which is it's just so twisted.
So the full quote here in Kirby's statement: those agencies have asked for National Guard personnel to provide support at traffic control points in and around the district to help the USCP and DC government address potential challenges stemming from possible disruptions at key traffic arteries.
Okay.
Potential challenges.
Yeah. Okay. That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's
like, oh, no. We don't want the National Guard for their military capabilities. We want the National Guard for their traffic guiding abilities.
Yeah. No decision.
We need some more traffic cones.
Right. Yeah. We need the guy with the big Mickey hands telling you where to go. National Guard. No decisions have been made yet to approve these requests.
Such a deep cut, Gons. Anybody who's not in Southern California may not fully understand, but that's what they do at Disneyland. They wear these giant white gloves.
They did that at our church, Basil. You don't remember the church?
They did do it at our church.
We went to a fairly decently sized church, and there was always that guy or a series of people out there with the big Mickey hands telling people where to go, directing traffic.
The thing. Yeah. The volunteers who directed traffic, because I want
to volunteer for church. Here are Mickey hands.
Here's some Mickey hands.
Stand in front of cars.
Here's a whistle. Go out there and dance and tell the churchgoers where to park, because we want to be like Disneyland.
Oh, there were so many wrong things at that church. Okay, let's move on. No decisions have been made yet to approve these requests, Kirby added. Several trucker convoy protesting coronavirus restrictions are slated to begin arriving in the D.C. area this week and continue into early March. The protests come after truckers in Canada occupied the capital city of Ottawa for 3 weeks to oppose vaccine mandates, which ended in widespread arrests and towing by police. The Pentagon statement did not specify the number of Guard troops that have been requested. Deployments of the DC National Guard fall under the Pentagon leadership, which late last year streamlined the activation process following a review ordered by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. The change allows Austin to directly approve urgent DC Guard deployments along with mobilizations that would involve participating with civilian law enforcement. The move came nearly a year after the January 6th insurrection, which saw the Pentagon criticized for the timing of deploying the D.C. Guard to the Capitol.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of that's what we've been talking about when it comes to the powers that they take in an emergency and never giving them up, just making them standard. And that's the January 6th has now become justification to be able to more readily and with less some might say bureaucratic red tape. Others might say, somebody could just get the National Guard deployed in any old situation. There should be more obstacles to deploying the military against U.S. citizens, not less.
Yeah.
And on that note, more?
Let me just say this before we get into the next thing, because the one thing that I am concerned about with this whole DC thing is if we're following the pattern here, there's a big the great reset of the infrastructure of the economy here, and Trudeau shutting down the bank accounts of the protesters and the people who contributed to the Ottawa protest. And then now we have sanctions against Russia. I made a joke on Twitter. I don't think anybody liked it though. It was Trudeau saying, I'm going to lock the bank accounts of all the people who participated in the Ottawa protests, and then Biden whispering, "Hold my adrenochrome," as he sanctions Russia.
Oh God!
This is my little joke, but I don't think it landed.
You silly goose!
But that's what I'm worried about. We've already seen people get locked out of bank accounts. It hasn't been very public because it's like Gab. It's the My Pillow guy.
Talking about in Canada or in the US?
No, in the US, like Americans getting shut out of their bank accounts. It's happened kind of on the fringes. The My Pillow guy talked about it. Gab. There's a few others. I forget all the names. I don't have it in front of me. But certainly a select few people have had that happen to them. Mm-hmm. And so this would bring that part of the problem of government power right into the forefront of that, people being able to shut down accounts. And given the economy, where it's at now and all the things the Fed's about to do, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's going to be a good thing. So,
right. And well, one part of that is as they have deployed this tactic in Canada, we had, did we play the clip on the show of the deputy prime minister coming out and saying, yep, we're going to make this ability to freeze people's bank accounts and online accounts permanent. This is no longer a emergency, ability. This is just going to be a regular part of life now, Canadians. Sorry.
Speaking of which.
Speaking of which, over here at thestar.com, the headline, RCMP working to unfreeze protesters' bank accounts, Ottawa says. The federal government says the RCMP are working with financial institutions to unfreeze bank accounts locked by emergency orders that targeted people who organized, participated in, or donated to the so-called Freedom Convoy blockades. That so-called has really caught on.
So-called, yeah.
Isabelle Jacques, assistant deputy Minister of Finance, told a Commons Standing Committee Tuesday that the RCMP began sharing information related to the end of unlawful blockades with banks and that's funny. They put unlawful in quotes as if as a news organization that they can't lie. They can't legally say that they broke the law or something. With banks and financial institutions as of Monday, that should lead to affected accounts being unfrozen. However, Jackie said some bank account holders may still be subject to other court orders freezing their assets. The province of Ontario won an order on February 10th that froze the distribution of funds raised through the American online funding platform Give, Send, Go. And on February 17th, a group of Ottawa citizens, businesses, and employees who are suing key organizers of the so-called Freedom Convoy 2022 won a sweeping order to preserve their ability to recover damages. On Tuesday, Judge Callum MacLeod of the Ontario Superior Court of Justice released reasons for his ruling, saying it concerns the, quote, private right to sue and not the steps taken by police or government authorities. Quote, even if the defendants are ultimately found to be lawfully exercising constitutional rights of protest and dissent, it does not follow that in the exercise of those rights, they do not have responsibilities to their fellow citizens, said the judge. That's a weird precedent to set. You can just sue protesters for inconveniencing your life for a couple of weeks. That's a weird.
Wasn't there something like that passed in New York too? It kind of rings a bell. There's something.
I think that was regarding police officers.
Oh, maybe
that the police officers could be sued for using unreasonable force.
Okay.
Yeah, taking away their. I forget what it's called, but. The class action lawsuit has not yet been certified by a court, but it targets the accounts of individuals, specifically Patrick King, Tamara Litch, Christopher Gara, Nicholas St. Louis, and Benjamin Dichter, all key players in the protests, as well as the corporation Freedom Convoy 2022 Human Rights and Freedoms that lawyer Paul Champ said was set up January 30th to collect nearly $11 million that was raised on Give, Send, Go. The protesters occupied downtown Ottawa for 24 days after demanding a lifting of Canada's pandemic restrictions. Police finally broke up the protest on the weekend. Blockades at the Ambassador Bridge in Windsor and the border crossing in Coutts, Alta, were removed last week. The Department of Finance officials said the emergency order issued by the Trudeau government led to between 206 and 210 accounts being frozen, totaling some $7.8 million. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, when asked Tuesday what criteria he'll use to end the emergency declaration and orders, repeated that the federal government is receiving advice from law enforcement, quote, every single day as we analyze reports coming in from across the country, as we hear the recommendations and operational issues faced by police agencies across the country and intelligence services. A lot of words there, Justin Trudeau.
A lot of words that don't answer the question.
Yeah, a lot of words to say that you're not ending the emergency declaration. He said he doesn't want it in place a day longer than necessary. On Monday, the RCMP said it had frozen 219 financial products and disclosed 57 entities, along with the addresses of 253 Bitcoin shared with virtual currency exchangers. 253 Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
How much is that? That has to be close to... That has to be over $11 million, doesn't it?
Oh, it's more than that. I thought it was. Let me do some math.
What does this Bitcoin have to do? Oh, this is not related to the protest.
That's about $10 million.
Yeah. Okay.
At right now's price.
Yes.
Yeah. No. This makes sense. Yeah. But notice how.
But that would mean on top of the $11 million, there's an extra 10 million Bitcoin.
Either that, or they quickly swapped a lot of that money into Bitcoin. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
It's possible that they got much more in Bitcoin because this thing was huge.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think that they doubled their money in Bitcoin. On Monday, the RCMP said it had frozen 219 financial products and disclosed 57 entities, along with the addresses of 253 Bitcoin shared with virtual currency exchangers and the proactive freezing of the account of a payment processor for a value of $3.8 million by a financial institution. The Mounties said it provided a list to financial institutions that included individuals who were influencers in the illegal protest in Ottawa and owners and or drivers of vehicles who did not want to leave the area impacted by the protest. Okay. So that's not just the money raised. That's what they froze of protests, people.
People. That had Bitcoin, especially on exchanges.
They froze that. Yeah. So their Coinbase accounts.
Right.
See, you got to keep your
what's
money,
interesting
keep
about
your
this?
Bitcoin off the exchanges.
Yeah. There's an exchange in America called Kraken, and the CEO came out on Twitter and said, yeah, if the government comes to us and says, hey, we need to freeze these people's accounts, we're going to have to do it. So if you really want, to control your own Bitcoin, get it off the exchanges, get it off our exchange, which is crazy. It's kind of nuts for the CEO of an exchange to say, but it just shows how true it is. It's like, that's totally against your own business model of like, hey, everyone come to my exchange and, drop off your Bitcoin here and trade. But he's saying, no, if you really want sovereignty over your Bitcoin, get it off exchanges.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. So it goes on and on, but they're saying they're going to try to start unfreezing some accounts, which is weird because it's like, what was the point? You just put it in timeout? You put their money in timeout for a week just to let them think about how they spent their money? It's just like, it's this weird parental obsession that governments have. And, it's the elites of all stripes, but especially governments and especially, Western democracies love this idea of the government being like a parent and the citizens being children, and which is so twisted and wrong.
Yeah, it is wrong.
You're not my dad, Trudeau. Get out of here. You can't put me in timeout. Like, what are you talking about? Stop talking to me like that and get away from my piggy bank. But that sounds like what they did. They just put their money in timeout and now they're trying to unfreeze it. Let me finish this up here. I'm going to skip down a bit here. The emergency financial orders took effect on February 15th. Made it clear has no retroactive effect, so that anyone who donated to crowdfunding platforms prior to February 15th should not be captured by the order. Champ, the lawyer for the group of Ottawa residents trying to recover damages from the convoy, said in an interview late Tuesday their bid to keep assets frozen pending a final judgment on the civil case had two goals. Quote, one is similar to the federal government, that we wanted to stop the flow of funds to the Freedom Convoy protesters who were still engaged in the illegal and harmful behavior, but we, that's weird, he just repeated himself. But we also wanted to secure the large sums of money that were raised because we felt that those funds should someday be paid in damages to the plaintiffs, and if the funds weren't frozen, there was a risk that they would dissipate. Yeah, it's really weird. They switch back and forth from talking about the money raised on the GoFundMe or whatever, or the Give, Send, Go.
Right.
And the individual...
Just the money that they each had, or the people that were frozen.
Individual holdings of individual protesters. They keep kind of switching back and forth between those two things in this article, and I am trying to figure out if they are trying to like freeze individuals' money to like keep it around to pay for the people who lived in Ottawa. It's just weird, man. What is going on in Canada?
Well, given that the FBI can steal stuff from your safe.
Yeah, it's true.
This is really not too different here.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. It's bringing awareness of how finicky our entire financial system is. And
control, man.
That conversation very much has to do with Revelation 13 and the mark of the beast, the infrastructure that will be.
Yeah.
But one real quick thing here, and this goes along with your little Trudeau comment there, about how he's not your dad. And to the point of earlier, this is a clip of, this is from 2016, and it's Klaus Schwab introducing Trudeau.
To represent also a new open Canadian constituency, which always has been a very loyal and very much engaged constituency here at the Forum.
Shaking hands.
Thank you, Professor Schwab, for your warm welcome. We are gathered here to contemplate.
Nice read, bro.
There you go. I don't think we need to play the rest of it.
Oh, that was it?
It's just a
little flub.
Little flub, little meeting with Klaus. We can hear the rest. That's fine.
Whether we are in the stages of the fourth industrial revolution about to...
He's really having problems.
He's nervous. He's
nervous in the presence of the king.
Daddy Klaus, he wants to do good for
Saint Klaus. I am in your presence. I flub my words.
All right. Well, if he's just going to spout nonsense, we can go to break.
Wait. Does he not? Is there a time when he doesn't spit nonsense, or is it just every Trudeau clip is just nonsense?
I don't want to get caught up in something else. We need to get you free so you can use the toilet on your own time here.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Okay, we're just going to take a quick break, folks, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we will have our updates regarding the pandemic or lack thereof, and the everything surrounding that. We got some interesting updates, an update from the CDC about the schedule for vaccinations in this new sort of post-pandemic, vaccine obsessed world. We're also going to have a little section on climate change, about, again, what does air pollution have to do with, well, you'll find out. Stick around and don't go anywhere. And as a forewarning, dear YouTubers, remember, you're going to need to get your finger on the trigger to jump over to another outlet, because YouTube will only be receiving half of the show. All the real juicy stuff will be on all of our other platforms. You can find those platforms at canarycry.party. Go there, find another one. It's take your pick. Twitch, Odyssey, Rumble, DLive. There's more that I can't think of right now. But with that, let's take a break.
We already did the break jingle.
Oh, no. Let's do it again.
You want to do it again? Okay.
Double break.
Take a break.
break from the break, folks. And you may have noticed...
Meta break.
We have no advertisements, no affiliate codes, no corporate money whatsoever. And we do that to keep this show free of corporate interests. You don't want your independent media to be soiled, to be tainted or corrupted by the interests of corporations. And that can take so many forms, folks. But here we are on the value for value model, which is a very simple model. We create value. We do it 3 times a week. And if you get any value out of what we do, you have the responsibility or the opportunity to put value back into the system, because that's the only way that the show keeps going. We don't get any money from YouTube, nothing from Twitch, no advertisements or affiliate links or anything like that. Nope, we are entirely funded by those who get value from the show. And isn't that the way that it should be? Do you want advertising companies to decide the value of your independent media? Does that even make it independent media if it has to rely on corporate interests in order to survive? Doesn't really seem like it, does it? And just morally wrong to gain the trust and attention of our listeners, just to turn around, package it up, and sell it to advertising companies for our own personal gain, where it's not benevolent what they do with the information that is free, well, not freely given to them, but given to them at a meager price for a few pieces of silver. Selling out your eyeballs and your attention so that some advertising company can use its billions of dollars worth of research into how to subtly, psychologically manipulate people into spending money they don't have on things they don't need during an unprecedented time of inflation. No, not the business we're in, folks. In fact, it's a wonderful system because we know when we're creating value. If we are providing value, then the producers put value back in and we're able to keep going. And it will make our retirement from the show easy to figure out. I use retirement in a friendly way. Certainly there is no retirement plan here at Canary Cry. But
where's the Canary Cry?
Where's our 401k?
Yeah, 401k or a Roth IRA or something.
Biden took it.
Oh, darn.
He inflated it out of existence.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But where was I? Yes. When we stop producing value and the producers stop returning value, we just know that we're done with the show. We know that we've, done as much as we can. But today is not that day. Do it again.
Pay them more.
Listen to Biden, folks.
Listen to Biden, yes. So, yep. And those listeners who put value back into the show, they're called producers because that's what they are. It's not some gimmick or some, game or something. If you pay to have a piece of media produced, you are a producer of that piece of media. You can put it on your resume, put it on your LinkedIn. It's a real deal. So we want to thank some of our producers now, Gons. There's a couple ways you can produce the show. You can head over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Mm-hmm. canarycryradio.com/support is a wonderful place to go on the internet. All sorts of fun things there. If you're a cryptocurrency person, you can support the show with your cryptocurrency. You can find all our public wallets over there. If you want to support the show, if you've been listening or watching the show for months, perhaps even years, getting value out of what we do here, think about what it means to you. What has this show brought to your life? And do you want it to continue bringing that value to your life? If that's the case, perhaps you should sign up to be a monthly producer of the show. We're very grateful to our monthly producers. They help lay down a foundation when producership is suffering, which happens, during the year at certain times. or sometimes just randomly for no reason. So we appreciate our monthly producers very much for their commitment to the show. But if commitment is not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount that you'd like. Think of the freedom, folks. It's incredible. Gons, who are we thanking today?
Well, we had our executive producer. We mentioned Jan S. Thank you very much, Jan S.
We'll mention her again. Thank you very much, executive producer Jan S.
Where'd you find this?
And Jan comes in with $154. And a note here. Thank you very much, Jan S. Says, just wanted to thank you for requesting prayer for my mom. Prayer is a powerful force that God reacts to. She is getting out of the hospital today. So thankful for your support. Jesus rocks. Well, thank you very much, Jan. We appreciate that. And yes, the Canary Cry family is always here to pray for other Canarians. It's one of the wonderful things about this community. And we're so happy to hear that she's feeling better.
Amen.
Actually, she got out of the hospital today. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Jan's mom.
All right, now we have some supply droppers to thank.
Supply drop.
That's right, CanaryCrySupplyDrop.com. Go check it out. You can learn all about our 2022 producer thank you campaign for producers who commit to supporting the show for $33 a month, $33.33 a month rather, who are then added to a very special list. Don't worry, folks. It's not one of those lists you don't want to be on. It's a good list. It's a list of producers who will be receiving thank you packages filled with exclusive Canary Cry items, merchandise, some might call them. Cool stuff, man. Whether it's apparel or accessories or survival gear or just art created by artists of the show. All sorts of fun stuff. And the ARG. I'm going to be able to give away so many more details here in the next show. But it's super fun, super cool. And here's the thing, folks. You're running out of time. After this show, there's only 2 more shows to sign up for the Canary Cry Supply Drop before the first quarter cutoff date on the 28th of February. We have to do a cutoff date because we need some manufacturing time before the supply drop gets sent out in March. So I'm very excited about it. The supply drop producers have shared with us; they're very excited about it. It's a great thing. So we've always been very thankful for the monthly producers, but this has been an opportunity, and will continue to be an opportunity, to really show them how thankful we are. And we have one new supply drop producer here that we want to thank, and that is producer Blonde Savant. Ooh, that's the username over on Twitch there. Blonde Savant comes in for $33.33. And a little note here. So happy to finally be a producer. I made my PayPal account just for CCR. So I could demooch, baby.
You've been
Wow, thank you very much, Blonde Savant. So happy to hear when people, become a producer for the first time. And to become a producer for the first time and start receiving the supply drop, that's a good deal. I'll tell you what. Her note continues, to our Canadian friends especially. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6-7. You and all my fellow producers rock. Basil, can you skate backwards yet? No, not yet. I cannot skate backwards yet. I'm getting up to that point, though. I've been building my confidence, been working on my lateral movements, just getting comfortable going forward. I think in the next couple weeks, though, I'm going to start trying to go backwards. I'm a little afraid to do it in public because I'm going to fall on my face.
Body cam.
I keep forgetting to wear my body cam, but I must do it. So thank you very much to Blonde Savant for being our one supply drop producer. And remember, folks, like I said, only 2 more episodes to become a supply drop producer. Now, you can still become a supply drop producer after the 28th, but you won't be able to receive the first shipment. And, the first shipment is very special. It's very special to my heart. It's our first time that we've ever been able to, we always thank the producers in lots of different ways. But to be able to send out packages all over the continent here to people who get value from the show and to be able to make them cool stuff. All this stuff is like designed and created by producers, by the way. We're not just going out and like buying something to send it to you. We're not heading down to the dollar store. Everything that's in the supply drop is custom created for Canary Cry producers. And it's very fun because I was just thinking about it today, getting ready to pull the trigger on some of the manufacturing. I was like, wow, what a special life I get to live where, first of all, I get to do what I do for a living, but then to just be able to work with very talented artists and producers and stuff to make a bunch of special items that will never exist again, and send it out to people who appreciate the show and will appreciate this stuff. It's just a very special feeling. So thank you to all the supply drop producers for making that possible. And we think you're going to love it. And I will have more details on the precise items in this supply drop probably next episode. I hope so, because it will be hard for people to sign up if I don't have it next episode. But I think you're going to love it, and it's really incredible. So head on over to canarycrysupply.com to learn more and sign up. We have not hit the 100 supply dropper goal, but we're getting close. It is not actually impossible to hit it. I don't have an exact number on me right now, but the reason we are shooting for 100 supply drop producers is because then we can buy, we can manufacture stuff in bulk, and it makes things cheaper, which means we can, get higher quality things for the budget that we've set. And so, what we should have done, and it's a little late now, there was one more item that I wanted to add to the supply drop thing this time around if we hit the 100. And I realized I never mentioned that. So I'm saying it now. If we hit 100 by the 28th, which I don't have the exact count, I think we're only 13 supply droppers away, which, we'd have to get, 6 per episode or something to hit that goal. But if we do get it, it's somewhere around a dozen people signing up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get this extra little fun object in the supply drop that kind of went on the back burner once we started making other stuff. But I think it's really special. Some of this stuff is going to be collectible, and we'll continue to create these things. And if you want to, get the first edition, the first item in this collection, it's only available in this first supply drop. So there you go. Okay, I'm rambling now. There you go. canarycrysupply.com.
Okay. Oh, I was supposed to hit a button. Hold on. Wrong button. Here's the button. All right. Yeah, that was a good 4-minute rant on supply drop.
Yeah. Well, it's coming up. I just wanted to make sure that we gave it what it deserved. I mean, if we could get that last dozen supply droppers, that 4 minutes will be worth it.
Okay. We got other producers to thank, though, and we're going to start off with Bibu Zuzu.
Bibu Zuzu is back, baby. Thank you very much. Bibu Zuzu comes in with $33.33 plus fees. And a note. Hey, B&G, call the producers, please.
Producers? What's up,
producers around the world are listening up. If you want to know how to join the producers, well, here's the secret. You already are one. Being a producer is just someone who pays attention and answers the call when part of the Canary Cry family needs prayer. So producers, here you go. I'm currently in the urgent care. Bibu Zuzu, because I'm having heart attack-like symptoms. No, not waxed or boosted. So don't go thinking that's what's wrong. Hopefully it's just stress and me overreacting. Bibu Zuzu. My goodness. Bibu Zuzu in the urgent care producing the show to send in this message. God bless you. And yes, there you go. Urgent prayer request, producers. Pray for Bibu Zuzu having these heart attack-like symptoms. We'll certainly pray that it is the least malignant causes for these things.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Heart attack-like symptoms.
Yeah, well, yeah. So there you go. All right, producers, you're on the job. Bibu Zuzu, we're praying for you.
Praying for you, Bibu Zuzu. All right, thank you very much. And yeah, appreciate that. Next, we have Amanda F.
Amanda F coming in for 33.38. That's 33.33 plus fees.
Illuminatus! 33.88. Yeah.
Yes. And a note here. Hi, Basil and Gons. And there's a longer note, but I have shortened it here to the most important parts. My husband and I have been longtime listeners of the show, started with Face Like the Sun and Age of Deceit, and normally produce the show through Patreon. However, I have a special request for the producers. Oh, never hit it.
Producers, assemble!
All right, producers, here's another one. My sister's husband has been fighting a rare and aggressive form of leukemia. They have 5 children and currently no income as they finish treatment 2 hours away from home. For 3 months, one of my nephews was just diagnosed with epilepsy, which has complicated matters further. And they have shared this GoFundMe link here, which I am now going to pop into the chat, and we'll make sure to put in the show notes. So even if you're listening to the podcast later on, just check the show notes if you want to help out with this. And yes, this is really gnarly. You can read more about it on the page here. But basically, this family has just been stricken with all sorts of really horrible health issues. And they're raising money to help pay for it. And so their goal was $10,000, and they're currently sitting at $7,190. So this is a totally doable thing for Canarians to make a big dent in here. This is something we could top this off, folks, and you can read all about it. And it's just, one of these things. So it's Canarians caring for Canarians. We're a family around here. So, of course, we're doing this during the producer segments, and people produce this show. But if there's any other dollars or cents laying around, this is a great way to, show the world that Canarians are canary-ing in the right way. So hold on, I'm popping this into the chat just in case anybody wants to head on over there. Yes, well, thank you very much for your producership, Amanda F. And we'll be posting this link all over the place for people who want to help out. And this is a totally doable goal here to top this off and help out a family who needs it. And, that's what we're called to do. So.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much, Amanda F. We're going to move on here. We got producer Morv.
Producer Morv is on a streak. Supporting for 56 episodes in a row, coming in with the 1111 plus fees.
11.
Woo. And has a note here. Happy Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Been on a movie binge recently and came across the Divergent series, Allegiant. Pretty interesting one to check out, especially in this new vax/gene therapy reality we live in. There's a Bureau of Genetic Welfare in it. Ooh, spooky. I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
I have not.
Okay, well, put it on the list there, movie buff Canarians.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Morph.
Thank you, Morph. Next up, Heather. Oh, not Heather Soros anymore. Heather Soros.
Oops. Heather Soros, thank you very much. Supporting the show 61 episodes in a row. And they're coming in with the 1001.
Oh, here we go.
1001. Amen.
And a note here. Happy Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Keep up the good work. Can we get a Gonzo jingle mix? Much love, Heather Soros, East Side.
Gonzo jingle mix.
I tried to tell you. You can't handle the truth. They've been creating animal-human hybrids for decades.
People don't even read their Bible, for heaven's sake.
How dare you?
Okay, very good. Thank you very much, Heather Soros.
Thank you, Heather Soros. There's a logic to that one, by the way.
Yeah. He's
next.
communicating, folks.
The goal is to just become a podcast of jingles and ISOs. We're not going to talk anymore. We'll just
someday that'll be the standard.
Next up, we have Palmer B.
Palmer B is on a streak.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
26 episodes in a row with the 1001.
Come on.
1001. Amen.
And a quick note, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Psalm 19:1 KJV. Thank you very much, Palmer B.
Thank you, Palmer B. Good to see you. Next up, we have Brian A.
Brian A. Thank you very much. Coming in with $17.76 plus fees.
Ooh.
$17.76.
Ooh. Oh, by the way,
I'm surprised we don't get more of that.
Yeah. By the way, I forgot to mention this in the intro part about my horrible day yesterday, being sick and just the whole thing. I think I know why. So yesterday, the February 22nd, 2022, so 02/22/2022. Did you hear about this? It is the return of Pluto.
Did not hear about this.
So on February 22nd...
Was Pluto missing?
On the day of the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776, Pluto's position was at 27 Capricorn. On February 22nd, 2022, Pluto will be returning to that exact position for the first time ever. So in 200 and what is it? What's the math here from 1776?
So on 2222, the Pluto was in the same place for the first time that it was
on July 4th, 1776.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? And
how did we not hear about this beforehand?
If you kind of dig into the meaning of the Pluto.
Now, did you back this up? Did you plug this into the astronomy calculator yourself, or is this something you just heard?
No, I saw something. I saw it somewhere. I have
All
not
right.
done
It needs to be verified, but still interesting.
Okay. The whole thing with Pluto represents rebirth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
New Atlantis.
The New Atlantis, and which makes sense that, yesterday was the big Ukraine day.
Yeah, and it makes sense that your butt exploded. It makes total sense. That's such a gnarly astronomical event that signals the changing seasons of history would be marked by guns.
There's a lot of outlets
losing control.
There's a lot of outlets carrying this Pluto thing. So
maybe you were purging. You were purging, preparing for the new age.
Purging the bowels.
Yes. All right.
Well, sorry. Back to
continue. Brian A.
Sorry,
says
Brian.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
It is Wednesday. Oh, hold on. Yes, it is.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
In parentheses, he says, OG jingle.
Of course.
Longtime listener, first time caller. So demooch me, please. Fun. I love multiple demooches in an episode. Love y'all. What do you call a zombie cooking stir fry? Dead man walking. From the King of Coconuts. Thank you very much, the King of Coconuts.
Thank you very much. King of Coconuts, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have JC.
JC's on a streak. 72 episodes in a row. He comes in with the 1001.
Oh, you went there first. Oh, sorry.
1001. Amen.
And a note that says, it is truly, truly WMD.
It's Friday.
No.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Fake news.
They're all labeled or colored the same. That could
Looking
cause
forward
issues.
to the growth the Lord will provide for his people this year. The global wars and rumors of wars are sure to test the faith of many. Hope you all have a blessed day. Thank you very much, JC.
Thank you, JC. Yeah, definitely true. Next up, we have Sir Sigra the Beast.
Sir Sigra the Beast is on a streak.
He's on a streak.
8 episodes in a row, coming in with the 1001.
1001. Amen.
And he has a note here that says, no note today.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Sir Sigra.
Thank you, Sir Sigra. Appreciate it. Next up, we have Sir Scott, Knight of Truth.
Sir Scott, Knight of Truth is on a streak. You know it.
Big streak.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir Scott. And a big day for Sir Scott and those who care about Sir Scott, like myself. He has been supporting the show for 111 episodes in a row. Triple ones. Triple ones. Triple ones. Thank you so much, Sir Scott. By the way, call him Sir Scott for those who don't know, because he's a knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable. It's hard to get to 100 episodes producing the show without being knighted. And we're happy to see you here, Sir Scott. Thank you so much for your continued support.
Appreciate it, Sir Scott.
Sir Scott comes in with the pocket full of sevens.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, well, that concludes our list of producers who came in the amount of $7.77 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. However, we have a few more producers to thank who came in under that amount, starting with Puddin22 is here.
Thank you, Puddin22.
Puddin22 is on a 3-episode streak.
Which means she's heating up.
He's heating up.
There you go. Thank you very much, Puddin22. And I'm glad that your human hasn't taken the credit card back. Next up, we have producer Jackie Yu on a 28-episode streak.
Women's streak. Oh, here it is.
Yeah, she's on a streak.
Women rule.
Next up, we have Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 121-episode streak.
Oh, yeah!
Thank you so much.
Oh, by the way, I went through and archived all of our jingles for a special project. And I found some streak jingles that we need to put into the rotation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And remind me, the audio production segment that you have for the next break is not for this show.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have producer Child of God on a 56-episode streak. Next up we have the good Doctor Who Dundad on a 58-episode streak. And yes, next we have the Streak Sisters. Gail M is on a streak, 87 episodes in a row. And the next streak sister, Veronica D, is on a 87 episode streak. And that concludes. What are you laughing at?
It's just the jingle.
The funny. Yeah.
The funny.
That concludes our list of producers for the day. Thank you to all of our financial producers keeping this show going with their treasure. We cannot continue doing the show without you. And we can't wait to thank some of you again. And if you're out there and you've never become a producer of the show, consider trying it out. Feel it out. Feels good to support the things that mean something to you. Plus, this lets the community know that you're getting involved, and we're all very grateful for your participation in the value for value model. Once again, you can become a producer by heading on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
Yes, you can.
Mm-hmm.
canarycryradio.com/support.
Thank you for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Okay, Gons, and before we go into the voicemails, which we've got a very important voice message to play on the show, I did want to actually put out one more GoFundMe. Something going on in the world, Gons. We had like 3 or 4 producer calls for the producers today, and we had multiple Canarians let us know about GoFundMes that they have going on that are very important. So this next one, excuse me, let me pull up a email here. This one comes from, who are you? Hold on. We have too many emails, man. This is hard.
I don't know that we labeled it properly.
I don't know if we did either. Oh, there it is. I found it. I just want to make sure that I don't say the wrong name is why I'm looking for it here. Okay, I don't see an alternate name. So this one comes from Diane, and Diane sent an email describing the issue to us, and it's a long story, but the long story short is that a Canarian family is on the verge of becoming homeless, and it's a pretty incredible story how God has provided an option for them, not only to have a place to live in this madness of the real estate market and the rental market, especially in California rental market.
Yeah.
Right. So not only has the Lord provided a way, with faith, we will, they will be able to step into this way. But the Lord has created a way, and also, done a wonderful job of getting them pretty dang close to their goal, or at least over halfway there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Let's see here. Let me just read a little bit of this because I don't know if I can describe it good enough. Shalom, family. We have been hit with another curveball. Let me read the email, actually. Yeah, here we go. Hey guys, peace and grace, and I hope this finds you well. We have a family emergency. We'll be homeless on February 28th. Shalom, me homie, peace and grace, brother. This was an email that they sent straight to me. I hope this finds you well. My name is Diana, and I've been a Canarian for almost 3 years since I got saved in 2019. Y'all have been a huge part of my walk and a light in the darkness for so many of us. I wanted to touch base with you today. Where is the story? So many emails, man. This is what happens. Okay. Our landlord has decided to sell their house, and they have to be out by the 28th. With little warning and nothing saved, we are now at risk of becoming homeless again. We found a landlord in Michigan who, despite having 200 better applications, has decided to take a chance on us after hearing our story, sympathizing with us and our need to leave California. Oh, yeah, that was another part of it. not only are they going to be homeless, but if we can help them out here, they will have a home and they get to leave California. So it's a win-win for everybody, I guess. We need to get Canarians out of California. Sorry, Gons. They started the GoFundMe to cover the deposit costs and the traveling costs and all sorts of things. That they have the breakdown of the budget here on the GoFundMe page. Long story short, folks, these guys have really been put through the ringer the past couple of years in so many different ways. And it would be really cool if Canarians jumped in and got involved. That there is quite a need here, but the Lord and other wonderful people have provided over half of the amount needed. And so, I think if the Canarians get involved, we can push that a little bit closer to the goal. So I'm going to stick the GoFundMe page into the chat here. We'll also put it into the show notes, and let's just go for it, y'all.
Yep.
We've done it before. We can do it again.
Amen. Yeah. It's, man, that's tough to hear. I think we're all, especially in California, we're all facing this kind of possibility, but if you get an opportunity to get out, hey man, get out.
Get out. Get out while you can.
Get out while you can. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
All right,
let's check out some voice messages.
Okie dokie. Let's see. We have a speak pipe.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message.
Beep.
Message.
That's right. Almost got me that time. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. On the right-hand side of the page is a green little tab. You click on that green tab, and suddenly you are equipped and able to leave us a voice message. You can give a shout out to listeners, thank some producers, ask us questions. Some people have left their testimonies, which were awesome. You can report on stories. You can do whatever you want. Just leave us a message, and we'd love to play it on the show. Today, Gons, as the Wednesday Jingle Civil War continues to rage here, some of us are trying to find diplomatic solutions. Well, there's somebody here who has to weigh in. It just would not be an international crisis if President Donald Trump did not weigh in.
Former President Donald Trump.
Yeah. Are we supposed? I'm unclear. Are we supposed to say former to former presidents? I thought we just called all former presidents president.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, here he is.
Hello, my fellow Canarians. What I have just heard is one of the most shameful and disgraceful things, possibly, frankly, ever in humanity. Ben Shapiro is wrong, and I wish him well. My people, you know what I mean. I have a full head of hair. Just ask Jimmy Fallon, okay? What do you have, Ben? What's under that yarmulke? Just saying, folks. But for the record, I'm all for the new Wednesday jingle, as I'm sure all of you are as well. But I'm not for the mandates. The old jingle should be enjoyed just the same. It's the Democrats that are trying to divide this great canarium, and we won't stand for it. Elect me in 2024 as the president of Canary Cry.
Oh.
Whoa. Hey.
High office.
Yeah.
This is just a long pause, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When I was first listening to that, I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Wow, there he is. Well, thank you very much, former President Donald Trump, for calling into the show and weighing in on this very important thing. You know, he's a man of the people, as has been said. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he doesn't seem like he wants to boss anybody around about the Wednesday jingle. Seems like a pretty agreeable position.
I would say so. I like his diplomacy.
The jingle mandates.
It's those Democrats trying to divide us.
Well, thank you very much, Donald Trump, for calling into the show. We appreciate it very much. We've now had Arnold Schwarzenegger, The Godfather, Ben Shapiro, and Donald Trump weigh in on the Wednesday jingle. Yeah,
celebrities.
Words getting around, man.
Who would we want? What's a celebrity we would love to have? Leave us a message. Maybe John Cena in Chinese.
Gosh. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
That would get us in trouble.
All right. Okay. Well, that's it for. Do we have a jingle that comes out of the voice messages? Or
no, it's a wake up.
All right. We're going to wake up in just a second. I do want to just plug the Discord channel and canarycry.community. I see today Adam42, who is in charge of our Discord channel there. He's passing out links for people to join. And everybody should go join the Discord channel. Yeah. Head on over to canarycry.party and scroll down to the Discord link there. I did recently replace the invite link there. I was unaware that invite link is invalid after 7 days. So I just put a new one in there. If you go to canarycry.party, you can join the Discord server. There's like hundreds of people in there now. I was unaware.
Discord is where it's at.
I was unaware that our Discord channel had grown that large. Yeah. So if you want to hook up with other Canarians and chat it out, I'm in there once in a while. I pop in, say hi. Also, I want to plug canarycry.community, which is more of a social network style situation for Canarians. You can put in your URL, thing there. Just go to canarycry.community. Sign up for that. It's a wonderful sort of forum style social media network we have there. All Canarians all the time, baby. All sorts of good camaraderie and discussions and that's where a lot of the meetups are planned as well.
Okay.
So you can find both those links at canarycry.party.
Perfect. We're going to say bye to YouTube. See you
Bye,
later, YouTube. Good,
See you later. It's going to get too hot for YouTube here. So if you're on YouTube, you need to go to one of our other platforms, Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at canarycry.party as well. Bye.
Okay. Can we wake up now? We're very far behind on our time.
We are very far. Let's go.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Where's my... Oh.
I have to do so much scrolling here.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, 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 COVID-19,
yes. COVID-19. COVID-19.
coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Number one way.
That's right. Well, to start us off here, Gons, really kind of some of the biggest news, I guess. It's been kind of a slow COVID week.
Well, yeah.
But this is coming from the Orange County Register.
Hey.
Which I thought was kind of fun.
I've been featured in the OC Register.
Have you?
Yeah,
I'm sure I have too, but for probably all the wrong reasons.
Oh, really? I don't know what reason you would be. It was way back in the day for me. My swim days was often mentioned, swim meets and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, fun.
So the Orange County Register, we're talking about it like this so fondly because that is the local paper of where of the city that Gons and I met in, that I lived in for quite some time. And it's funny. These are really, the Orange County Register is really one of the only platforms, outlets that is carrying this story. It has been sort of ignored. At least for a day since the story happened. And it goes like this. CDC now says 8 weeks between COVID vaccine shots, optimal for some, which is a very gentle way of saying what it's going to tell us about here. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has modified its COVID-19 vaccine dosing recommendations, advising that for the young and healthy, especially males.
Well, I thought we don't have gender. But okay,
that's a good point. This is a little heteronormative.
Yeah, this is not woke.
Whatever it is. It may be better to allow 8 weeks between the 2 Pfizer and Moderna shots than the approved 3 or 4 week interval. So
3 or 4 week is stretching it too, wasn't it?
It was 28 days.
Oh, 28 days. Okay, that makes
28
sense.
days previously between your first and second shot. But now, here we are, a year and almost a half later, they're like, whoopsies, actually. And it's interesting because this is, I think, the reason why nobody was picking up this story is because it's sort of a soft admission that the vaccine is causing myocarditis.
Problems.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that, so let's keep going. A number of physicians and medical experts have been privately making similar recommendations based on practices and experience in other countries to alleviate concerns about the rare side effects. Why other countries? Oh, is it because the CDC was hiding the data? That's probably why.
Other countries like Israel?
Yeah, and the CDC's expert panel endorsed the idea earlier this month, but it's unclear how much the guidance shift, which the CDC did little to publicize Tuesday, will change U.S. vaccine practices. Quote, "This is a huge opportunity for us to ramp up vaccine acceptance,"
okay.
said Dr. I'm not sure if Dr. Michael Daignault really understands the implications of this.
No, I don't think so.
They're like, oh, actually, we're going to kind of secretly change our recommendations because even though we've called people like white supremacist domestic terrorists for saying that the vaccine causes myocarditis, we're just going to try to give it a little bit more time between those two things, specifically because of myocarditis in young adults. But Dr. Michael, this is a huge opportunity for us to ramp up vaccine acceptance. So many people are going to get it now.
It's a very myopic view there.
Totally. It's absurd. It's an absurd view. He's living in a fantasy world. Dr. Michael Daignault, an emergency room physician at Providence St. Joseph Medical Center in Burbank, who urged a longer dosing interval in a MedPage Today article with Dr. Monica Gandhi at the University of California, San Francisco. Quote, "I just hope they take the next step and be more public about it." Isn't that funny? Like even the doctors are like, yeah, great. Why are you not telling anybody this, CDC? Why are you sort of quietly doing it, not telling anyone?
Is it possible that Michael Daignault is being sarcastic here?
It could be.
Like he's being quoted. He knows he's going to be in the OC
register. They are
register.
both ridiculous quotes.
Yeah, it's possible that he's just kind of fed up with it.
He might be being a funny boy. Yeah,
he could be.
The CDC
hard to tell in print.
Yeah, the CDC earlier this month had signaled such a shift in dosing interval guidance in a presentation to its advisory panel of vaccine experts. Panelists at the February 4th meeting all supported the longer dosing interval, but it wasn't clear afterward if or when any change would be made. They all supported it. The entire panel at the CDC said, yeah, we definitely should be spacing these out more. But it's the CDC. So Rochelle, as she's done multiple times, ignored the advice of the panel. Pfizer and Moderna representative voiced no objections or concerns about extending the time between shots. Yeah, it's all profit.
Yeah. Why would anybody be concerned about that?
Studies in other countries, such as Canada and the United Kingdom, showed a longer interval between the shots improved their effectiveness. This is great. So obviously, Gons, it's because of myocarditis and shocking the system with some strange substance that frequently became a problem. But studies in other countries, such as Canada and the United Kingdom, showed a longer interval between the shots improved their effectiveness in preventing disease and further reduced risk of rare but serious side effects, heart inflammation or myocarditis, seen most often in boys and young men, the CDC said. The benefits peaked at 8 weeks between shots. Now, isn't it strange that they're extending the interval between the first and second shots, but decreasing the interval between the second and third shots.
That is interesting.
Isn't it weird?
Why would that be?
It's just weird to me. They keep being like, oh, you can get your booster in 6 months. Oh, now you can get your booster in 5 months. Ooh, now get your booster in 3 months. And yet, they're like, okay, hold off on that second dose for a little bit here, bro.
Well, yeah, that, but also it kind of makes sense that there are a lot less people now getting the vaccines, if at all, So having that time gap between the first and second shot isn't as, I guess, important. But if you can move it around so that between the second and third, like the first booster shot, is much closer in time, then you can probably get a lot more people to come in or something. I don't know.
You know what I think? If I'm being skeptical, increasing that time between the first and second shots increases the time that they are technically unvaccinated.
Right.
So if anything happens between the first and second shots, you can say they were unvaccinated.
Yeah, that's very. I think you're right. Yeah.
This is unvaccinated myocarditis.
Yep. That makes perfect sense.
It gets even crazier, Gons. Listen to this. The CDC noted that for higher risk people and in situations where COVID-19 is widespread, limiting protection to a single dose for 2 months might raise disease risks during that peried. So they're saying, we have to. I mean, they're saying they're saying we got to wait 8 weeks to give you the second shot because we don't want you getting myocarditis. But having a single dose for 2 months might raise disease risks during that period. So
for higher risk people.
Yeah. So, okay.
So getting one shot, if you're a higher risk person, you get a single dose, and between
you get COVID faster. You get it. You're at higher risk of disease.
Higher risk of disease in those 2 months.
After one shot. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! What is this? This thing is just ridiculous.
I know. Well, it's
chemical that they're sticking in people.
There's no logical consistency to what they're doing, and anybody who's reading this and isn't like, wait, what? They're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
But expert panelists say that that is less of a concern with cases now in retreat.
Oh, now okay. Well,
you got an increased risk of catching COVID, but that's not a big deal. Quote, I did find the data that was presented from Canada and from around the world very persuasive.
There's a ... between Canada.
There's an ellipses.
I wonder if they said Israel.
Sure,
and
Israel.
Couldn't put it in the article.
For sure. That an extended interval, particularly in young persons at increased risk of myocarditis, would be particularly beneficial, said panelist Dr. Catherine Poling, a pediatrician at Wake Forest School of Medicine in North Carolina. Quote, when the pandemic is receding, this is a particularly good time to do a prolonged interval. Okay.
So,
I mean,
it's almost like they just they want to keep...
She just admitted that the risk of getting myocarditis from the vaccine is more important to avoid than the risk of catching COVID between shots.
So how many people have myocarditis? Or how many people are suffering from myocarditis from any of these shots?
Depends who you ask.
Yeah.
In updates to its guidance Tuesday, the CDC noted the Pfizer vaccine is approved with a 3-week interval between first and second doses, and the Moderna vaccine a 4-week interval. The CDC said that, quote, continues to be the recommended interval for people who are moderately to severely immunocompromised. Weird, because you literally just said that for those who are higher risk.
Wow, they're all over the place in this article.
All over the place, man. It's just back and forth. There's zero consistency, and even in this one story, this one instance, there's no consistency.
John Woolfolk.
Adults ages 65 years and older, and others who need rapid protection due to increased concern about community transmission or risk of severe disease. But while maintaining that the vaccines, quote, are safe and effective, I love they put that in quotes,
yeah.
At those FDA-approved intervals, the CDC said, oh, we have an FDA versus CDC is what's going on here. The FDA recommendation is the shorter period. The CDC is saying it's the longer period. The CDC said, quote, a longer interval may be considered for some populations. The CDC noted that while absolute risk remains small, the relative risk for myocarditis or heart inflammation is higher for males ages 12 to 39.
Oh my gosh.
That's increased quite a bit, hasn't it?
That's a humongous.
Yeah, it
That's
used
like
to be
most of the people. Well, maybe not most, but a lot.
Most boys, most men. It used to be 12 to 18 were at risk or something.
Yeah, it was much young. It was a younger group.
So if this is great for you, Gons. You're considered a young man.
Oh yeah, I'm at the tail end.
Yeah, you're almost a man. And this risk might be reduced by extending the interval between the first and second dose. Therefore, an 8-week interval.
They really are doing this. All the changes are for the myocarditis. Wow.
Right. This extremely rare thing that happens. It happens so little that it's not even worth reporting on in the news. And it's not even worth putting the data out there. It's just so extremely small. So we hid the data for 2 years or a year. But we'll just change a huge part of the vaccine regimen a year and a half in because, but it's no big deal. It's just because we're doing it. Anyways, Diagnalt said concerns about heart inflammation are still a sticking point for a lot of parents he speaks with, and that the guidance update can make a huge difference getting that population vaccinated. Yeah, right. Too late for you.
You missed a thing here.
I did skip something, but we could, you want to do it?
Yeah, the CDC's Dr. Sarah Oliver told the agency's vaccine experts that the potential benefit in modifying the guidance would be to increase vaccination among some 33 million unvaccinated people ages 12 to 39.
You're right. I did mean to read that. I skipped the wrong part. Yes, that was a big part of it. Dang it. Yeah, 33 million unvaccinated people, they think. They can get 33 million people vaccinated in that age group, 12 to 39, because of this extension.
This is unreal. This is
ludicrous. It's completely ludicrous and a complete credibility killer. It just makes no sense.
This has to be part of destroying these systems. I can't think of any other thing than to make it a big wild poop show, which it has been for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And, people like us have been calling it out, but I feel like there will come a point where certain people, when it reaches some kind of critical mass, people will demand something, some change to take place.
I don't know.
And I'm not saying that that's going to be a good thing.
Well,
I'm saying
CDC is on the altar, the sacrificial altar.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though.
They're talking about killing the CDC.
Yeah.
And doing, starting some new agency because of the CDC's failure.
Well, that's exactly that. It would make perfect sense to expose all the original infrastructure, and so we can bring in the new shiny one.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you meant like the people would rise up. No. This is like a great reset type thing.
No. The people will go along with some kind of narrative. When I talk about the critical mass of the people, well, I think there is in some regard, because most people looking at this are going, okay, none of this makes sense. But because the sentiment of the public does matter in some regard with a lot of these institutions, I can see them playing on that. Playing on the fact that most people are aware and being like, you know what, you're right. We really need to do something about the CDC. We'll restructure everything and make it all new and shiny. And then the people who were calling it, like people like us who have been calling out the problems, will basically, a lot of them will be not forced to say, but will conclude that like, hey, at least we got the CDC out of there. Now we got the new group, the CD or something, the health police,
whatever
or whatever it is.
new version
right
of it that will inevitably come with more powers,
more technology, more. They'll promote more transparency. This is all part of the Great Reset. I have no other way of thinking. Otherwise, either that or these people and groups are so incompetent that they deserve to be dismantled in general. But I mean, it just seems like, because to be honest, not that the CDC or the FDA or any of these institutions were all up and up before COVID, but they could have not had COVID and just kept doing their thing. You know what I mean? But because of COVID, they've been thoroughly exposed.
I was studying up on some analyses of the CDC, and one great one that really made a lot of things make sense to me was that the CDC was never a public-facing organization. It was never meant. It was never meant to be public-facing. The doctors, Rochelle Walensky, that office. Remember, she's new. She's new to the job.
Yeah.
The CDC was never meant to be making public announcements and making policy and things like that. That is not what the organization was for. So the pandemic really, for whatever reason, they got, pushed up, they got pushed up the list. They got put at bat to be the public facing, authority on the pandemic, when that was never in the job description of the CDC. It seems like that's why they did so poorly. I mean, they were back and forth.
They weren't ready for it.
You think this article is back and forth, or this story just in general. They've been doing this the entire pandemic. They've been back and forth on this.
Yeah.
They're a bad institution. And but they were never meant to be the people doing that.
Right.
That is not their job. And so it makes total sense that, they more or less failed during the pandemic. So kill the institution, or at least, let it fade into the background.
Yeah.
But then, like you said, rebrand, retool it, or just make something new that is like the CDC, but much more equipped and geared towards the public control, the public communication, the influence on policy.
Come to our metaverse meeting, the CDC metaverse.
Yeah. Well, they've basically been sort of illegally, they've been put in a position where they sort of had to go. Nothing they were doing was part of their job description.
Yeah.
None of it was legal. They're not there to do policy. They're not there to, go on news organizations and, be mouthpieces of the pandemic. That's not what they're there for. And the fact that they got pushed into that role, or they took that role, or whatever happened.
Well,
is putting them at risk. Well, there might not be a CDC next year.
Well, it makes sense if you're thinking like the elite lizard people to make the CDC the spokes arm when they're not ready to do so, because they're much easier to control. Give you a reason to kill it. Hey, give you a reason to kill it too, but also you can control the narrative through them a little bit more.
Right.
Because they're not meant to be
they're in a place
PR.
that they're uncomfortable with, and they'll just kind of do what they're told.
Right. You should put it in words like this or whatever, and they'll run with it. So a much more malleable option. So there's a lot of other things here. We had a lot of headlines, but just a few to run through.
Just run through the headlines, I guess.
Yeah. This one's from Yahoo. It's a Business Insider article. COVID-19 cases in the U.S. have dropped more than 90% since reaching a pandemic peak in January.
90% in a month.
In 1 month, we've dropped 90% according to these numbers.
Wasn't this supposed to be like Armageddon? Like Omicron was supposed to ravage the country and everybody was going to get it.
Everything was, everything has that narrative, but yeah.
Those numbers match the clip from Bill Gates from last episode.
Yeah.
Where he said Omicron is a vaccine.
Is a vaccine, yeah.
Yeah. So now everybody's vaccinated because of Omicron. That's great.
Right. This is data from Johns Hopkins. The week average was around 802,000 COVID-19 cases per day on January 12th. It is now 56,000 nationwide.
Yeah. That's crazy.
A short, sharp Omicron wave has also
Why would
been
anybody
seen.
get vaccinated?
Yeah.
At this point,
At this
even
point.
with an 8-week,
And listen to I'll just read this first paragraph sentence here. The number of new COVID-19 cases in the U.S. has plummeted by more than 90% since reaching a peak in January. Data shows lending support to officials' views that the country is moving towards a point where the pandemic ceases to be, quote unquote, a crisis. And to that point, we've noticed that, they've moved the crisis. The fear-mongering narrative has shifted to other things. Ukraine, climate change, and we'll get to that in a moment here. Here's another headline. Politico, Africa, CDC to ask world to pause COVID-19 vaccine donations.
We don't want them.
I love how the WHO is like, their whole thing, they have these big old council meetings and they're like, we need more equity. If we need to go back and fix anything, it's getting vaccines to more third world countries, all that jargon, And
Boosters are racist.
Right. Yeah, you're being racist towards you. And then now Africa's like, we don't want them. Please stop sending it to
We're
us.
done. Again, referring to Bill Gates's clip from last episode.
Yeah.
It's like, we have a vaccine surplus here. Yeah, because nobody wants them. Get them out of here.
There's the Scotland story. Vaccine passport scrapped. Another tennis star pulls out with health problem after getting a booster. Sounds like maybe some myocarditis there too, or heart issues. And this is in this one here from dailymail.co.uk. Romania's most famous football team. I'm going to say this wrong. Steaua Bucharest. Am I saying that right?
That was good.
Okay.
Sure.
Announce a ban on vaccinated players because their madcap owner says that athletes, quote, lose strength. And claims those that are jabbed die in hospitals.
These vaccinated players are so weak.
So weak. I love that. It's just, I feel bad, but also man, we were so right about so much. And it's not because, we're so right. It's just, we're paying attention,
Look at the picture of this guy.
Is there a picture?
Yeah, scroll down.
Whoa, this is the guy. This is the guy saying it? Whoa, man.
Yeah, he's in like a golden chair. He's like a Trump-style golden chair with like a golden hearth, like fireplace behind him. He's all dressed in fancy man clothes. That's funny.
I'll read a little bit here just to kind of get a feel. Let's see. The owner of the Romanians. Okay, you don't have to read it then.
No. I kind of scanned it. There wasn't anything like.
Okay.
The headline's the best part.
All right. Well then, fine.
He's kind of like a Trump-like character. He's like a skeezy businessman. Is what they want you to think. So don't listen to him. But he's like, all these vaccinated players keep keeling over, like we're banning vaccinated players. What a twist that was in the plot, huh?
Romanian businessman Becali believes players vaccinated against coronavirus are powerless. What do you mean powerless? That's really an interesting
awesome.
Thing to say. Let's see. Becali also recently said Claudio Casaru can no longer play at a high level because he was vaccinated. He's just calling out, doxing players and
naming names.
Let's see. He's okay. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Becali, Gigi Becali, the man of the people, I guess, unvaxxed people.
I don't think he's concerned about other people. He just wants his team to win.
Yeah.
He loses money if all these vaccinated soccer players keeling over on
it's funny how field. As a businessman, he probably doesn't care much. Like if the vax doesn't affect him, he wouldn't care. But it's affecting the performance of the athletes, and so
it's a money thing for this guy, for sure.
Which makes it really extra funny. It's like, wow, okay, all right. We have a couple things from the climate change. Speaking of the transition here.
Climate change.
Brainless.
You love that.
Yeah.
This is from
Yep. You want to do it? I was going to start it off here.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
This is the World Economic Forum. And the headline here, air pollution can increase the threat posed by COVID-19.
Yeah.
So
we've heard this before.
I know, but for the World Economic Forum to just straight up headline, and it's not just that. I don't know when this happened, but I'll read the bullet points here. The World Health Organization has declared air pollution a major public health emergency.
Oh, we need a new one.
Saying it causes millions of premature deaths each year.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing toxic air can lead to a compromised immune system and increased risk of chronic health conditions. People exposed to poor air quality are more susceptible to the threat of COVID-19. I mean,
yeah. Well, this just fits into the category of, plenty of stories we've read over the years of connecting the climate change issues, multiple issues, to deaths. Just like, oh, you don't think climate change is real? Well, it's killing people. So again, you're another sort of terrorist figure or something. Just more of this sort of demonization of people.
Do you remember as a kid, did you get this is your brain on drugs? Were you part of that generation?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they have a little video here. They tweeted out, air pollution triggers 7 million premature deaths a year. And they had a little video that says, this is your brain on air pollution.
Oh.
It shows a brain losing brain function. And, some interviews with people and blah, blah, blah. This frustrates me. It's like one of those issues where we know because of the climate change thing that leading up to COVID, we knew that they were going to bring it back to climate change one way or another when we started hearing about how clean the air was when everyone was inside and how the pollution has gone down. And
the earth is healing.
The earth is healing because of the COVID lockdowns. And so we knew that was coming, but they need to have the problem reaction solution. And this is the World Economic Forum presenting another, it's the same problem, just presented in a new way. Now that we've had COVID, we can now present the problem of air pollution as being synonymous with getting COVID-19 and
You're
dying.
right. I think that's the big story here because, they've been pushing the climate change is killing people every day storyline for quite a while. And that's not really any surprise. I mean, there's the Canadian doctor who diagnosed a patient with climate change, that they were sick because of climate change.
Yeah.
But the COVID-19, much like 9/11, 9/11 just becomes sort of like a magic word, where if you want to get anything done or talk anybody into anything, all you have to say is because 9/11. And then that worked for a really long time.
It did.
Like that little incantation of 9/11 worked for many years. And that's, kind of, if you want to kind of think about the esoteric sort of occult, the magic of what's been pulled over the past 2 years, the spell is complete. Now there's a new incantation called COVID-19 that you can use to enforce your will upon people and upon the world.
Just making people think that their policies and their actions are saving lives. That's the big deception.
They'll let you do anything. Hey, they'll let us do anything if we just say it's because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's been the case for 2 years. But now as we're coming out of it, everybody's admitting it. Everybody's moving on. It's over. Mandates are lifted. Vaccine is sort of like it's like a medical accessory now, if you want to get it, versus some sort of, it definitely, it's different anywhere in the world, of course, but here, at least for us. But now, more than anything, you've got this new magic word that you can add on to anything, and it'll be so triggering because the trauma is fresh and, the threat is still real, much like after 9/11, it was like any day now there's going to be another terrorist attack. So, watch out. Could happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with COVID. Like, oh, another variant could come tomorrow.
Yep.
Change everything on a dime.
Mm-hmm. I have a clip here from a panel. It was from November 2021. It was a World Economic Forum.
I saw this.
meeting.
Did we not play this?
I don't
on
think
the
we
show?
played this. I don't think we played this particular
Because this
clip.
has been going around for a while, and it especially was making the rounds about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I didn't catch it till recently.
You didn't catch it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let's play it just in case.
It's a panelist, Nair. I don't know how to say her name. Ngaire, Ngaire, Nair Woods, professor of global economic governance at Oxford University.
Yeah.
Talking about the elite, literally mentioning the word elite.
Yeah.
And
this was from an event. I actually went back and watched this event.
It's from the World Economic Forum's Great Narrative Conference in Dubai, November 2021.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't quite remember. I went back and watched the whole thing. Some people were saying it was from some event. Was there a Davos like in the past month? What was the event in the past month or so?
I don't know about the past month, but I know, according to some of my sources here, this was mentioned at the World Economic Forum Great Narrative Conference in Dubai, November 2021. Which that was the big Klaus. Remember Klaus?
I remember
picture
the Great
with him
Narrative.
in the Saudi, the huge cube cage and all that.
Yeah. Well, it's all good. Play the clip.
Here's the clip.
At Davos a few years ago, the Edelman survey showed us that the good news is the elite across the world trust each other more and more. So we can come together and design and do beautiful things together. The bad news is that in every single country they were polling, the majority of people trusted that elite less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised you missed this.
I did.
This was during your Twitter ban.
Oh, maybe. That's probably why. Yeah.
It was during your Twitter ban. Yeah, this was going around, and I was pretty skeptical of it. People were saying it was from some other event.
Oh, okay.
And then I had to go back and find it, and it was from a different event, and nobody cared by that point.
So it wasn't from the Davos in 2021?
I forget.
Or not Davos, but the World Economic Forum?
I'd have to go back. It was some World Economic Forum thing. I actually went onto the World Economic Forum website and went into their archives that had all their videos and had to search around quite a bit. It was from, I can't remember if people were saying it was from a different event, but it was from the Great Narrative. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm just
as long as it's recent,
but
long
it was
as it's not
real,
from like 2013 or something like that.
Yeah, it was real and it was recent.
Okay,
and
so
that's what matters.
The point, okay. So the takeaway being that they did a poll. The elites trust each other more, but the people don't trust the elites in all the countries.
Oh, it wasn't even a poll. No, it wasn't a poll. This was just this woman. There's no survey.
She said survey.
The Edelman survey.
Right. I'm sorry. I thought you were. My brain is fried today, man.
It's okay. We're so off time today too.
I know this is a weird show. We're out of sync today, but oh yeah, look at that. I am bouncing. I just looked at the thing and I'm kicking my desk, and it's bouncing quite a bit today. Yeah. So anywho, this was a very interesting clip that was floating around, and it was really egregious, and people were freaking out about it. Just like, oh. So they do consider themselves elites, and they do, they do consider themselves to be in a cool secret club that nobody else is in. Yeah. And but nobody trusts us. How can we make the world better if nobody trusts us?
It is. I don't know. I apologize for getting a little cosmic and biblical, but it does show how true the Bible is when it comes to the fall of man and the fallen nature of man, that no matter how hard we try to govern, we just can't do it. We cannot do it properly. And everybody knows it. It's a very fascinating thing when you think about the return of Jesus and the restoration of creation and how it's supposed to be with God. It's just, I don't know. To me, it's just such proof that in our world, these humans constantly try to rule over each other, and it never works. It always runs into issues. Even the people that think they're doing great things for their country or whatever, you might be stepping on another country or whatever. It just doesn't work, man. It doesn't work, and I don't know. It drives me crazy to hear just kind of the aloofness of it all.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we had no idea. Well, so if we're going to lead, we're going to have to convince them that we're not bad.
Yeah, that was kind of the big gasp of that moment was like, oh, they're just not even self-aware. They don't even realize that they're lizard people.
Okay. Well, I did have another story, but because of time, I say we just kind of go into break.
We're losing our
bad
groove.
today.
We should just keep moving.
Okay, here we go. Let's take a quick break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
This is our second break, and we like to thank our producers who come in with their time or their talent for this break. We talked to wow. Let me just start over.
Okay.
Canary Cry News Talk is a place for therapeutic reflection of our troubling world, and we encourage producers who have talent to express that emotion, whether it be through laughter or through pain, and doing so through the medium of art, music, jingles, all kinds of things. And we like to share the pieces right here on the show. So we're going to start off with, and you're saying, you told me that audio thing was not.
Yeah, I see where you got that, and that was not a new thing.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
No, that was a different conversation I was having with somebody.
Ah, okay. Well,
those attachments that you found were from an email from like months ago.
Oh, I must have seen I must have just grabbed it from the thread then, thinking that it came in today. Okay. All right, then. We don't have any audio producers today, but we welcome all of our audio producers to continue producing, doing great work, by the way. So we thank all the audio production people out there. But let's get into the art.
One art, please.
And we're going to start off with Dame Allie of the Skillet Nation.
One art, please. Another one from Allie now. Here it is.
And this one came in a tad late, but we got it here. And there's a lot going on with this one. So I don't know how much I should read. But this is titled... Sorry.
Yeah. This was a lot.
It was a lot. Sorry for getting drunk and vomiting in a hamper at your kid's slumber party. And there's a story attached. And the story is from MSN.com. And the headline here is U.S. House candidate sorry for intoxication during sleepover. And there's a couple parts highlighted. Thank you. U.S. House candidate in Oklahoma has apologized after reports that she became intoxicated at a Valentine's Day weekend sleepover for middle school aged girls, berated several of the children, and vomited in a hamper. Democrat Abby Broyles, 32, told television station KFOR that she had an adverse reaction after drinking wine and taking sleep medication given to her by a friend. Not good to mix there, Miss Broyles.
I had an adverse reaction to drinking too much wine and taking drugs.
This quote is great. Quote, instead of helping me sleep, I hallucinated, Broyles told the station. And I don't remember anything until I woke up or came to and I was throwing up in a hamper. Broyles, who initially denied to non-doc that she had attended the party, apologized last week during her interview with KFOR, a news channel for which she used to work as a journalist. Quote, I want to say sorry from the bottom of my heart. I apologize for any hurt or damage or trauma that my behavior when I didn't know what I was doing caused. I like how she puts in that caveat. When I didn't know what I was doing.
Okay, we get the story here. So that's the story behind who Allie did such a wonderful job depicting here.
Just to kick it, I won't read it, but just to top it off here, she claims, this Broyles lady here, claims that the attack on her was a smear campaign. A media smear campaign that's politically backed.
Yeah, well, she's probably not wrong.
Well, don't give them.
But she sure gave them some ammunition.
Yeah. So anyway,
right.
there's a.
Well, here we have the image crafted by Allie with her expert hands and her expert pencil. Headshot here of Ms. or Mrs. Broyles. It seems like actually looks like a pretty pleasant woman. Seems delightful.
Until you take a close look at her eyes.
Yes, if you zoom in on the eyes, you can see that 2 bottles of wine and an Ambien later, her lizard eyes start shape-shifting back to their original form.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Dame Allie.
Thank you, Dame Allie. And Epony Blaze for the accommodating note.
Indeed.
Next up, Sir Dove, Knight of Rospeltia. And we got a note here. Peace for this week's sheet of players for the upcoming 2022 NWO Fantasy League Draft. We have some politicians, family of politicians, and politicians that are family of other politicians. Hope you guys like it. Keep doing what you do, and I'll keep praying for yins.
Here we go. Here's the New World Order Fantasy League new player sheets here. We're starting out with American Psycho, age 54, location California, specialty following the science.
Oh, great.
Yes, this is your buddy. Who is this? Is this Newsom?
Newsom, yeah, of course it's Newsom. Yeah.
Yeah, some stats here. Earned his position by merit, not the multi-generational connections to the Brown and Pelosi families. Oh, that's good to clarify.
Yeah, good.
Some points here. He gets 13 points if California catches on fire again.
That's a guarantee.
Pretty reliable.
A guarantee.
It's Newsom science, baby. Ha!
Next up, we've got Skeletor. These names have just gone into full on.
Now we're
brutal.
Now we're ripping from the reference.
Yeah. Age 81. Location the swamp. Specialty stacking paper. Some stats here. Savvy businesswoman whose household has made over $100 million while in office. You know, the player sheets here have really taken on an extraordinarily sarcastic vibe.
I thought they were always a little sarcastic.
Yeah, they are always a little sarcastic. This is pretty much sarcasm all the way through. Has traded more than $33 million in tech stocks in the past 2 years.
I'm sorry, I'm seeing some breaking news. I'll check on it.
I was trying to check on that too.
Okay.
Because, yes, we need verification. 3 ways to get points with Skeletor here. For those who are just listening, it's Nancy Pelosi. 6 points, any article about congressional stock trading. 6 points about, or any article about January 6th. 6 points about any article about homelessness. That's a constant, that's a pretty constant point get, really.
Yeah, you're good.
That's a nice steady. Not a whole ton of points, but steady points.
It's steady, yeah.
You've got the 666 option there.
And there was that story from last episode. We had it in the additional stories. I can't find it in here. I wonder, we didn't publish the additional stories last episode. But anyway, it was about how the law, I think they passed the law where politicians can't trade or something. They can't trade crypto.
No, yeah, don't. It's so we need to do a whole thing on that because it's a whole thing.
Okay, it's a whole thing.
Next up, we have the Hunter, age 52, location smoking in a bathtub, specialty intellect. Smart. The sarcasm continues. Smartest man his father knows.
That's not sarcasm.
That's true. His knowledge and expertise landed him a spot on the board of Burisma Holdings in the Ukraine and BHR Partners in China. 1 point per week, any story on Ukraine. 1 point per week, any story on China.
Oh my gosh. The Hunter can be very consistent.
Low
points, though.
I love it. It's a super low scoring points on the Hunter. Because he's he's as effective as a team member on your fantasy league draft as he is in real
in
life.
In real life, I was going to say the exact thing in the real life game.
Still involved in everything, you know, especially recently. That's at least 6 points per episode, perhaps even more.
Like that, maybe.
We do a lot of Ukraine and a lot of China stories
right now. Yeah.
Next up, the Baron, age 15, location New York City, specialty time travel. Some deep cuts here. Star of the hit 1893 novel Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Adventure by Ingersoll Lockwood. Great nephew of the MIT professor that was personally brought in to inspect all of Tesla's papers after his death. Yeah, some very interesting Baron Trump trivia here.
Mm-hmm.
No sarcasm.
No, straight facts.
Yeah. 33 points if he grows to 7 feet tall, which is not impossible. He is almost there now.
I don't think he's quite there yet, but
he's almost there. He's 6 something. He's like 6'4".
He's tall. He's tall, but I don't know that he's going to reach 7. And not just that, but this play, this is like a long play and like I don't know. You may not score any points with the Baron. He's like too young.
Well, there's been a lot of high scoring points in the character sheets, you know.
Yeah, we need to mix it up.
They needed to. This was like, these are like second round picks, here, second or third round picks.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we need some bench warmers. Some. Yeah.
Bro, Baron Trump is 6'7" right now.
Yeah, but. Is he going to get to
he's
7
15
feet?
years old and he's 6'7". He could easily make it to 7 feet.
Okay.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is he really 15?
Yeah,
he's got to be.
He's got to be. He might be a little older now.
Okay, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. 6'7", and if he really is 15,
I put Baron Trump age in my little search, and it just pulled up Donald Trump, and so it said 71 years old. But Baron Trump is
apparently 130 years old.
Well, yeah, he was born on March 20th, 2006.
Bro, if he's 16, he could very 15. Well grow a few more inches.
I suppose so. Yeah, that's gnarly. 7 feet.
It's possible. Nephilim child.
I don't know, man. There's a very, very special type of people that get to 7 feet tall.
Yeah, the ones whose dads are billionaires and can pay for the stem cell treatments and the super gene editing shots.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Let's move on. Thank you very much, Sir Dove. Excellently done.
Well done, Dove. Thank you.
And team, if there was a team involved.
Yes. One more art here is from Mr. Jag. And I don't think there was a note because he did have the ground reports, so I think that was part of it.
I did not see a note, no.
But it's just a blue pen rendition of you and I.
Yes, of our signature page that we put on the emails.
Who drew that? I can't remember who drew that.
I could pull it up, but I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it was it's on the tip of my.
I know. We're trying to finish the show.
I know. Okay, well, go on.
Well, look for it while I talk about it.
Okay.
It is in our archives there. Yes. So it is a rendition of the portrait of you and I done by another producer who we will hopefully maybe not find here in a second. But it's by Mr. Jack here. And the only difference is that he did it without my VR helmet.
Right.
on the original portraits, I'm wearing my VR helmet with the googly eyes. In this one, he took a stab at of drawing my eyeballs and eyeball region, and next to my face, he just writes, "Maybe, maybe this is it. I don't know. It's an option." I don't recognize this fella. This isn't the fella I see.
No, this isn't.
I see looking back at me from the mirror, but it was a good stab at it. Thank you very much, Mr. Jack.
Yeah,
very fun.
I can't find it.
I know.
I feel horrible. All right, what are we doing? I feel very jumbled today.
We are very jumbled. It's a weird day, which is why I'm trying to just keep us moving through this.
Okay, we got microfiction. Are you ready for that one?
Yeah. Did we? Yeah, do it.
Okay, here we go.
Microfiction
time. Microfiction time.
Okay.
And
this is a wonderful way that other creative producers can contribute to the show. I have not heard anything from Runk Smash.
Yeah, Runk Smash went dark
since the 17th of February.
I know he was talking about some stuff he was going through, so maybe something happened. But so
we're
looking out for you, buddy.
Praying for Runk Smash. And Runk Smash, if you're out there, just check in, buddy. This is weird. I haven't gone this long from hearing from you for so long. We'll be praying for you. Producers, just throw some prayers out for Runk Smash. But we do have the Sentinel, who has come in with another microfiction.
Here we go.
Basil laces his skates. He's already made eye contact with most of the Alpha Boys, including Johnny Cale. Skates say Gonz's words echo in his head. Love your enemies. Alpha Boys know not what they do. As Basil skates around the rink, the Alpha Boys move in to strike. But Basil is ready. He expertly dodges their attacks as they zip by. He looks over his shoulder to see Johnny Cale skating right in front of him. At the last second, Basil spins 360 out of the way as Johnny slams into an innocent skater. Both skaters go down. The Alpha Boys set up a protective circle around their leader. Basil pays no attention to them. Instead, he glides by and extends his hand out to the other skater, lifting her off the ground. Are you okay? He asks. She smiles. Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you. Her eyes still googly from the impact.
Is there romance brewing or something?
Perhaps she's got googly eyes. She got her eyes googled out of her head by that Alpha Boy crash. Thank you very much, the Sentinel. The saga continues.
Thank you, the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is it for this break, Gons. I think we should just get on going.
Okay. Let's see. Let's wake up.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
We got a couple stories to wrap up the show. This first one here, what do I have? Oh, it's the brain one. This one was interesting. It's from dailymail.co.uk. And the headline here, our lives really do flash before us. Scientists record the brain activity of an 87-year-old man at the moment he died, revealing a rapid memory retrieval process. And the bullet points here, researchers recorded brain activity of an 87-year-old as he died of a heart attack. Oh, wonder if he had myocarditis. Brain waves indicated rapid memory retrieval process occurred at time of death. Findings suggest our life does flash before our eyes through memory retrieval. We don't have to get into the details.
I wonder if that's the Uprising 333 says DMT. I wonder if that is the DMT activation.
Possibly, yeah. You know, as we kind of get into more brain Neuralink, basically the Neuralink era, they're going to start releasing more information about the brain, I think, and I don't know. I have a feeling it's going to shape how we socialize and all that kind of stuff. It's going to start changing. It'll shape
how we see ourselves, and how we see reality, and how. But more on like a mainstream level.
Right.
Of course, there's already all sorts of trippy stuff, both from DMT heads and actual science, the way that reality is perceived and created in the mind, and how there's more to it than our minds can even are even able to perceive or decode or whatever. So there's a lot of opportunity there for a sort of secularist spirituality, all based on the sort of postmodern concept of the mind, rather than sort of a straightforward clinical idea of the mind, where science usually likes to hang out. But with a lot of, the funky science going on right now with the brain, it'll be very interesting to see.
I didn't bring the story to the show a couple episodes ago, but there was one, I forget the outlet. It was a mainstream scientific outlet writing an article talking about how we need to understand the mind. And I know it's a long-standing thing, but to hear a scientific journal actually, or outlet actually say like, hey, we've gotten to this point, we can't figure out what's going on materially, so we need to figure out what's going on in the mind if we're going to understand the brain. And it's like, oh, okay. The end of naturalism. I talked about this on Age of Deceit too. How the science itself is not going to find answers in the material, so they're gonna start tapping into the supernatural, paranormal, the psi end of things. They're going to start looking at it, talking about it. It's going to become normal science. So very interesting. Also, I think this type of study gives the kind of impression to people that your brain is just like a really sophisticated computer, and it's going through some of its final procedural whatever before you die, because it talks about some of the EEG waves and the spike in waves and stuff right before and after the heart stops.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. But thinking of your own brain more like a computer, it allows for mainstream thinking people to accept microchips or some foreign object to synthesize with your brain, synthesize,
like
an upgrade. Not having it be an intrusion of your brain, but more of a synthesis with the machine type of thinking. So I don't know. I think that's it's moving in that direction when it comes to this type of story. So I thought it was interesting, but we don't have to go through the details here. The other story was, of course, we have to do Antarctica.
It's cold, Baza. It's cold. Antarctica, go first. It's a snowstorm. Antarctica.
Ice scientists are penguins.
Antarctica, they're opening the abyss.
And this one's from freemalaysiatoday.com. And the headline is, Australia wants eyes on Antarctica with funding boost.
Okay.
Let me read a little bit here. Australia on Tuesday announced a plan to boost its presence and surveillance operations on Antarctica, unveiling a $575 million package designed to match China's growing interest in the pole. Why is everybody so interested in the pole?
All of a sudden, everybody's getting in on the Antarctica game.
Prime Minister Scott Morrison said the 10-year funding plan would give Australia, quote, eyes on Antarctica by increasing the country's ability to survey and monitor the frozen tundra and surrounding waters using drones, helicopters, and autonomous vehicles.
Why? Why would you need to do this?
Australia
wants to populate Antarctica with robots.
Well, here we might have some explanations here. Australia has territorial claims on 42% of Antarctica, the largest of any nation, but has lacked the capability to reach far-flung corners of the continent. There has been concern in Canberra that the void could be exploited by Beijing or Moscow, both of which are becoming more active on the continent. Nearly half of Australia's new funding will be spent on capabilities to move around inland areas, map Antarctica's remote east from the air using drones, and purchase of 4 new medium-lift helicopters. There are also a handful of environmental projects in the announcement, including $5 million for research into climate change's impact on Antarctic ice sheets and supporting Pacific nations in monitoring rising sea levels. I'm starting to think, and I've thought this before, but just more and more of this makes me wonder, the money that they're raising, a lot of times, governments will have titles for things that, you get grants for and stuff like that. You have like a name for it, right? Like a generic name. Research into climate change's impact on Antarctic ice sheets. seems kind of like, okay, that sure. There's a lot of people doing that, though.
Suspiciously specific.
It's very specific, but also like everybody says that.
Right.
You know, which again is kind of like, why is everybody talking about this, and why is Australia specifically pouring in $5 million?
And why is it in response to China's investment?
Right.
Like the context of it being, yeah, we had to do this. Well, because China's doing it and we can't let them do it and not us, is like, wait a second. I thought this was going to be like a military I mean, of course it is also a military thing.
Of course.
You got to keep eyes on Antarctica. You can't let the Chinese spend a bunch of money to build some Antarctic bases and some ether mining. As was in some sort
crypto
of like
reference.
Yeah, they're just like we can't. Yeah, I don't know. I think that 40 some odd percent. 42% claim to Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
That is like humongous. That is
territorial claim.
Incredibly large territorial claim by Australia. Yeah. I wonder if it's one of these things like, water rights or staking claims.
Right.
Like, in the U.S., you can still stake a claim out in the wilderness if you want to, use it for something in certain places. You just go out, stake your claim. But if you don't use it, then your claim can get taken by somebody else.
Right.
So I wonder if there's something like,
first come, first serve.
China's encroaching on their claim. And if you're not doing anything with your Antarctica claim, then China can just swoop in and take it.
And that's China's style,
Oh,
just
that
come
is
in and
exactly their MO. Yeah. So that's very interesting. And of course, the government of Australia they're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. They've been listening to all the Antarctica stories. They know that Antarctica is the next frontier of resource development and ideological colonialism. They know that Antarctica is the future and the last bastion of survivable climate once the whole world catches on fire. They know that penguins are the tastiest kind of meat that a man could possibly taste. They want to keep their claim.
There's a little bit more to this that I think is worth reading here to wrap things up. Morrison refused to be drawn on his specific concerns about China's growing interest in Antarctica beyond saying, quote, they don't share the same objectives as Australia does.
So they're not just trying to measure microplastics in the ice. China wants to build some missile silos or some interdimensional portals.
China has built two year-round stations on Antarctica, and its spending on Antarctic programs has steadily increased, but Beijing's footprint is dwarfed by the U.S. USA, baby. America. Woo! I wish I had my Biden.
It's ours.
If I can pull up my Biden jingle quicker, I would have, but I can't seem to find it.
What is the U.S.'s claim on Antarctica?
I don't know, but here it is.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
Gosh sakes.
The U.S., which maintains the largest presence in Antarctica with about 1,400 personnel staffing its 3 all-year stations in summers before the pandemic.
We're number one.
The influential Australian Strategic Policy Institute recently warned in a report that Antarctica has become a venue for, quote, geopolitical competition and recommended steps to uphold a ban on military and mining activities. Evan Bloom, the report's author and the polar expert at the Woodrow Wilson Center, noted that while China and Russia are, quote, heedless at times of call to compromise, it was important for the U.S. and Australia to, quote, carefully manage relations with strategic competitors. Oh, man. The Ukraine thing is starting to make more sense with the Antarctica thing, too, If you're thinking about resources.
Yeah.
He said when it comes to the management of Antarctica, cooperation remained vital. Yeah, that's what they all say. Quote, excluding China from science cooperation has the danger of giving credence to those within the Chinese government who wish to argue that the ATS, the Antarctic Treaty System, doesn't benefit it and doesn't deserve a long-term commitment, Bloom said. And that's how the article ends.
Yeah. Well, Sounds like there's all sorts of shenanigans down there, and the international competition part of it is really fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not surprising knowing what we know at this point. I mean, it's the place to be, man. And as far as the future is concerned, and perhaps the well-being of the future of any individual nation may depend on, the large stakeholding, claim holding on Antarctica, because eventually we'll have no choice but to suck it dry from all its resources.
It's kind of where things are headed, isn't it?
Someday we're going to need that ice because it'll be so warm around here, and we're going to need the penguins because we will have no other meat sources besides, beyond meat and bugs. So we'll need that. And then, not to mention the oil and the gold and all this fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it'll be a luxury destination.
Sweet. I think we're done.
Yeah, breaking news. Do you want to just real quick? I did pull up an Al Jazeera, just to mention it because it is happening. To not mention it would not be good. AlJazeera.com. It's reported. Lots of other places.
Yeah, I got the AP here.
Not a whole lot of mainstream American outlets yet, which is not surprising. They love ignoring this. But the headline, Trudeau lifts emergency order invoked to end trucker protests. Just a quick browse. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has revoked the emergency powers he invoked just over a week ago to end a weeks-long anti-government protest that paralyzed the country's capital.
Are all bank accounts unfrozen?
No, so that's exactly the point I was going to make, which is, somebody out there might say, but Basil, you said they would never give up those powers, that we would always be in this state. No, I said that they will use this as a way to make these emergency powers normalized, not keep the emergency declaration going. And what did we read earlier in this podcast? Exactly that. The banking tyranny that was only possible because of the Emergencies Act has been, or is at least in the process of being ratified outside of the Emergencies Act. So they got what they wanted, just like you said, Gons.
I'm looking at, because I was thinking, would Trudeau dare to follow the World Economic Forum pattern here and use the Emergency Act on pollution levels in Canada or something like that? But Canada ranked, according to CubeToronto.com, ranked as the 5th lowest air pollution level in the world, according to the International Energy Agency. The United States and Canada placed 65th and 66th. So,
good job, Canada.
Yeah, I guess that. I mean, if he does play that card, then I mean, for sure that it's a power grab because, according to the numbers, Canada is not really producing that much pollution. So
they're chilling, bro. They're chilling.
Way more chill.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning into this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We'll be back on Friday. Friday is the 25th of February.
Wow.
So have a wonderful rest of your week, folks. I do want to take a second to thank a few more of our producers, starting with our clip producers, which we have a jingle for now.
We do. Yeah. Hold on. Sorry. Moving on to other things here. Let's see if I can find the clip jingle.
These clip producers are
Sorry.
Go.
What?
I was going to stall.
Clippy on those videos.
Thanks, Clippy. That's right. And our Clippies for this week are producer Emsworth, producer Faye Liverin, and producer Epsilon. If you want to see their good work, head on over to Canary Cry Clips YouTube channel or the Canary Cry Clips Odyssey channel. Shareable, careable clips of the show that aren't 3.5 hours long. Indeed, many of them are between 3 and 10 minutes long. Great way to share the show or to just go back and listen to stories that you want to become reacquainted with. So thank you very much to our clip producers.
Thank you very much.
Next up, I want to thank our timestampers.
Timestamp, it's hard work. Timestamp.
Our timestamper for last Monday's episode. Monday's episode is
wow.
Timestamper Jackie U. Thank you very much,
U.
Jackie U, for the timestamps, an essential part of the back-end administration, as well as all sorts of fun stuff we got going on. Thank you, Jackie U.
Thank you, Jackie.
Go to canarycrimemeetups.com, folks, if you want to check out the meetups. It's a very important part of living a life within the Canarium. Why don't you
Canary Crime Meetup.
Why don't you just run through locations and dates, and people
Real
can
quick.
go to the website if they want to find them.
Okay, so Washington State, that is. March 19th, 2022. Ciara's the one leading that one. Go to canarycrymeetups.com to find her contact info and where it's going to take place. There's also the East Texas meetup, April 30th, 2022. And that will be led by Cool Runnings Mon. So contact info there for East Texas. And also San Diego meetup, April 23rd at the Bergen Brewery, Carlsbad, California. Contact Meredith for that one. Again, all contact info will be available at canarycrymeetups.com.
Okay. There you go. canarycrimemeetups.com. Go do it. Go to a meetup. It's very healthy for your mind and your soul. And if there's not a meetup going on near you, you can put one on yourself. It's easy. You're going to be doing something on a Saturday anyways. You might as well invite some Canarians to come around, make some friends, and who knows, you might meet that special someone. It's happened. There you go. Okay. I think... Okie dokie, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. And thanks more than anything for producing this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Remember, we'll need some producers for Friday's episode, baby, episode 451. So if you've never become a producer before, why don't you think about it? It'll be fun. Demooching on Friday. And if you, maybe it's been a while since you've produced, maybe it's time to, there might be some catching up to do on the value that you've received from the show. Whatever you want to do, you can head to Canary Cry Radio. Nope. You can go to patreon.com/ccnt or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
All sorts of fun ways to produce the show there. But I do want to thank our producers for this episode 450, starting with our executive producer, Jan S., our supply drop producer, Sandra G., and the rest of our beautiful producers, Bibu Zuzu, Amanda F., Morv, Heather Saras, Palmer B., the King of the Coconuts, JC, Sir Sigurd the Beast, Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, Puddin22, Jackie U, Sir Casey the Shield Knight, Child of God, Doctor Who Dundat, Gail M., and Veronica D. Thank you very much. And thank you to all of our other producers, our creative producers, our artists, our audio producers, and everybody who makes this show go. If you, financially producing the show is not in the cards for you, that's okay. There's plenty of ways to produce the show. You can produce the show with your time and your talent. If you're an artist or a musician or whatever that means to you, do whatever you do and send it on into the show at canarycryradio@gmail.com. We'd love to feature your work on the show. If you want to support the show with your time, we're always looking for people to help out with all sorts of projects we got going on. We got the Canary Cry Clips channel. We got some fun projects in AI. Ooh. Also, always fun getting help with, things like the community aspect of what we got going on here. We've certainly had lots of desire for there to be some dedicated moderators. Perhaps that's you. However you want to get involved with the show, there's room for you. That's part of one of the most fun parts of what we do is people just email us. They'll say, hey, I want to become a part of the show. I love the show. I get value out of it. It'd be, really fun to help out. but I don't know how to help. Well, just let us know a little bit about yourself. Your interests, your skills, maybe your work history, something like that, whatever the case may be. And we certainly will find a way for you to get involved. Oftentimes, it inspires new and exciting things that we can do with the show. You can play a big part in some really cool things around here. If you want to get involved, just email canarycryradio@gmail.com. But you can also help out the show by leaving a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts or Audible. It's a very important thing to do. It's helps out with the algorithms. Not just helps out, it's essential that we get about 5 or more ratings and reviews a week on Apple Podcasts because it activates the algorithms. First of all, it's fun. You can say all sorts of silly stuff there, and I am obligated, honor-bound rather, to read your reviews on the show. I'll be doing that on Friday. So if you have not left a rating and a review, please consider doing so, because most of all, we wouldn't want Gonz's grumpy uncle to get mad at you.
Ugly, horrible person. You must leave a review on iTunes. And if you do not, you are ugly, horrible person. You bring shame to family.
Where'd you find this?
Whoa, you did the alternate
The
one.
alt. Keeping everyone on their toes.
Alt jingle. Nice. Yeah, so please go do that, or else Gonz's grumpy uncle will shame you publicly. Sort of a scathing and ever-burning manner. And you can do that at Apple Podcasts. It's super easy. Thank you so much for everybody who has done that. And I can't wait to release other people who leave ratings and reviews, release them from the shame put upon them by their ancestors or whatever. Ratings, reviews, boom, did it. Other than that, just share the show. Share it out on your social media. That's always very helpful. In fact, I want to give a couple shout outs. Remember, it's not about, if you have a bunch of followers or not. It just really helps out the algorithms if people are posting our links. And so I want to thank Twitter user @Billanthropy1, @Billanthropy1, and Twitter user @MichaelJohnVon1. Michael John Von 1. They are Canarians. These are people who are spreading the good word about the show, and they must be a good follow. And also shout out to Trippy Evie over on Instagram for posting about us on her story. That's very fun.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Go follow Trippy Evie as well. All right. So if you'd like a shout out on the show, post a link to the show on your social media. I'm not giving shout outs necessarily, although I do appreciate it when people retweet our stuff. That's very nice. But if you post an actual link either to an episode on YouTube or Odyssey or whatever, that's super helpful. Or you can post like a clip from the Canary Cry Clips channel. That's also very helpful. All that kind of stuff you can do helps us out a lot. And I'm happy to let people know that you're out there, you're a Canarian, and you're a good follow. Premium follow. Okay, so there you go. You can share us out on your social media. You can just share us with your friends. Word of mouth is the best way to share the show, because when it's your friend, when it's somebody you trust, maybe your family member, and you want them to find a safe place to question the official narratives and get some analysis or deconstruction on the mainstream news, now is a wonderful time. People are the shame surrounding questioning the official narrative is receding. The wave is going back into the ocean, and people are more open than ever to hearing some quality analysis and deconstruction of what the propaganda machines have been feeding them for 2 years straight. So give it a try. But you don't have to share the show in those normal ways. You could always get a little bit more creative about it. You're maybe kind of one of those funky bohemian types that doesn't want to follow the crowd or do what the man tells you to do. I get it. Sometimes I'm the man. But if you really want to rebel against me, hello, it's me, the man. You can do something a little bit more funky to share the show, you know? You don't have to worry about the normal stuff. What about, Okay, so here's the deal, folks. Antarctica. We've talked about Antarctica a lot, and Antarctica is a wonderful way to share the show because everybody's paying attention to it. Maybe not your neighbor, your mom or something, but certainly if you have any friends like in the World Economic Forum or some sort of elite that is in leadership around the world, perhaps in some sort of globalist think tank, or maybe you're friends with Justin Trudeau himself. You know, that's the thing about Canada. It's cold up there. You don't think that they're thinking about Antarctica. Oh, but they are. And here's the thing, folks. Robots, they're coming to get us all, and they want to be our best friends. They're even cooking us meals in the military. And Australia is trying to populate Antarctica with robots. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to, well, first of all, you're going to probably just need to be single. You can't have a lot of responsibilities when it comes to pulling this one off, but you're going to have to get some tools. You're going to need to get yourself an EMP rifle. You're going to need to learn how to hack some hardware. You're going to need to get some sort of mud coating to cover your body in some sort of hard shell, kind of like in the Predator movie, where the Predator has the infrared or the thermal vision. Well, you're gonna go to Antarctica, folks, and those robots, they have some top-notch thermal vision. So you're gonna need to first get some sort of jumpsuit, some sort of skin-tight Lycra jumpsuit. Then you're going to need to dip that skin-tight Lycra jumpsuit into some water. Just let it soak in not the ocean, because the salt water doesn't freeze very well. You're going to need to find some distilled, purified, fresh water, ship it on down to Antarctica. You can hide yourself in the barrel while you're at it. Just put the address on the barrel to the Chinese Antarctica Research Station, and just make sure you leave yourself a little breathing hole in the barrel in your Lycra suit in the water barrel. Then it'll take about a week or two, but eventually you'll make it to the doorstep of the Chinese Research Institute down there in Antarctica. And when they pull the barrel in, they'll be thinking, oh, we're these really pitiful, sad, unimpressive, forgotten Antarctic scientists. Even us, the Chinese Antarctic scientists, are doomed to a life of poverty and loneliness. But then here's you pop up out of that barrel. You're freezing cold. Your Lycra suit is wet. Suddenly it starts to freeze. Don't worry, you're not going to get hypothermia because you swallowed 12 hand warmers before you got there. It's going to warm you from the inside out, baby, but not the outside. The outside is going to be cold as ice. And we all know that most of Antarctica's main predators, I'm not talking about the predator, I'm talking about predators. I'm talking Nephilim penguins. I'm talking search and destroy drones from China. I'm talking research drones from from Australia. But don't be fooled by those Australian research drones. They're all packing heat. We know this. They're not allowed to have guns in Australia, so they duct taped them all to their drones and sent their drones across the ocean to patrol the borders of their Antarctican claim. And so, but they can't see you because you're freezing cold. You got the Lycra suit starting to freeze. When those Chinese open up the barrel, you just go running off into the snowbank, baby. They won't even know what hit them. And now you're crawling through the snow and the ice, feeling that warm, warm belly filled with hand warmers that you swallowed on the way down. And those You'll hear a buzzing off in the distance. Yep, that's right. It's the Australian kill drones. Keeping an eye out for any errant Chinese Antarctic scientists, but they can't see you. No, you're invisible. You're the invisible man down there. And somehow this has something to do with sharing the show. And when one of those little drones comes up close to you, you're going to jump out and jump on its back and hold on tight, because let me tell you what, folks, those Australian drones, they buck like a rodeo bull, baby. But you can break them. You can break them. Just hold on tight and never let go, and soon you'll have control. You will have tamed the beast, and you will become the Antarctic drone rider. Now you're going to need to use that drone to fly back across the ocean back to Australia. You're going to get a lot of news coverage. You're going to be the ice man, the ice drone man, and the reporter will ask you, what, why, what are you, who are you? You'll say, I am the Invisible Man. And you should listen to Canary Cry News Talk for all your mainstream corporate news, deconstruction, and analysis, baby. Paka! And that's your canary noise. You make that noise. And then everybody will listen to the show. It's awesome. It's awesome. And by now, Gantz certainly will have finished his admin work that he does at the end of the show. And so we like to call it rattling cages. If you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Okay, Gons. Any last words?
I'm so tired. My back hurts.
I
just thank God I didn't have to go to the restroom during the show.
I'm very proud of you.
I feel better, actually.
Yeah.
Like I actually physically feel better from the beginning of the show. So thank you for all the
healing powers of podcasting.
Yes. That'll be, we'll write a book on that.
Yeah, we'll get some Canadian doctor to diagnose or to prescribe. Are you diagnosed with climate change? Well, let me get you one of these unlimited prescriptions to podcast.
You need a mandatory podcast passport to get into this building, sir.
Where's your QR code? All right, let's get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
We will hunt you down and make you pay. Pay them more.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Hit it!
There's a new sun rising up angry in the sky. There's a new voice saying we're not afraid to die. Let the whole world believe it's dying, it's deaf and dumb. But nothing can change the shape of things to come. There are changes lying ahead in every road, and there are new thoughts ready and waiting to explode. When tomorrow is today, the bells be told for some. But nothing can change the shape of things to come.
I am Dr.
Dr. Future with host Basil and Gons at Canary Cry Radio, and I invite you to join us as together we experience a future quake.
Crowding out all realities. There's revolution sweeping in like a fresh new breeze. Let the old world make believe it's blind and deaf and dumb. But nothing can change the shape of things. Nothing can change the shape of things. Nothing can change the shape of things. Nothing can change the shape of things.
Don't even get me started on bidets, man. Bidets, man. Bidets, man. I'm telling you, you were living the life, man. Bidets, wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Supersonic space lane screamed to life and the vehicle swooped upward. On board, the passengers experienced a 3 Gs of force from the burst of extreme acceleration and watched the blue sky fade into space.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Oh, yeah.
In the back have been cleared to unstrap.
Yes. Do it, Richard. Do it, Jeff. Do it for humanity.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
He can accomplish it. You can too. Big windows, cool. Rocket ship, cool. Space plane, cool.
Nukes,
cool.
Blowing stuff up,
cool. Space plane, astronaut, rocket ship.
Previous anchor.
We have Bezos. He's a human. Just look at him. Go to the bathroom in bags. He can go to the bathroom in the cosmos. It changed everything. Wives in space, children in the cosmos, with your best friend brother. Wives in the cosmos, children in the space lane.
We are headed to space.
Previous anchor.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths!